if you like Rallycross, if you like the sideways action and all the madness, RallyX TV on YouTube is the place to watch it. So like, subscribe, and you know where to find us.
Arvika in Sweden for round 7 of RallyX Nordic 2021. It's Champions Weekend. We've got a hot championship fight going on in all the classes, particularly crosscar. 3 drivers on equal points. We've had insane weather earlier on today. Again, it started the session wet, then it got dry. When the supercars were on the line, the heavens opened and the standings were turned on their head. Enzo Ede went from P11 to P1 in one session. I don't think he could quite believe it. We certainly couldn't believe it. My name's Andrew Coley. This is Hal Ridge. That was a wild ride, wasn't it, for us? And we weren't even in the cars.
Yeah, it was bizarre, wasn't it? And it wasn't even raining on one part of the circuit. So, yeah, mad weather makes a lot of action. I'd really like a dry session now to see where the level is, as I said before Q2, but I don't think we're going to get it.
OK, we're hearing, oh, it looks lovely. Our director said it looks lovely. It does, Robert. Thanks very much.
I've been in the truck for 10 minutes. 10 minutes ago, it looked like it was going to rain.
Yeah,
so
it did.
That just an indication of how quickly it's changing.
I was over at OMSE a minute ago. Andreas Eriksson was bedding in some pads on the car. The car was on wets. I was like, why is it on wets? And he was like, well, look at the weather. And going through his app, and there's a set of dries stacked up next to it. So I don't think anybody quite knows what's going on with the weather. Championship fights, they're a little bit more obvious, I think, in a couple of categories, aren't they, really? Well, I'd say most, except for Crosscar. Crosscar and Crosscar Junior are wide open. The other 3 are really tied up, but that's fine. It's all good. That leads to some wild decision-making where people haven't got a lot to lose, really, and maybe feeling a bit stupid. So we didn't see anything. There was carnage in one of the lights races, wasn't there, last time out? I think 3 of the 4 went back on a truck.
Yeah, people getting a bit more into the weekend and
a bit more into each other's doors.
Fighting a bit harder, and I think we're probably going to see a bit more of that now, especially with this big gap until Q4 tomorrow morning. OK, cool. Right, let's take a look back at some of the action from earlier on today. This is the start for Kristoffersson on the inside line, up towards turn 1. Kevin Eriksson having a sneaky look up the inside. You can see the wipers were on. Tricky conditions it really was. This was Q2 earlier on today, and Hal Ridge has been out into the paddock and had a catch-up with the 3-times World Rallycross champion about just what went down. Some big pressure on him there in the first lap.
Yeah, I think both of us after the contact exit of T1. So yeah, it was a bit of difficult fight there, but anyway, it didn't matter so much because the weather was not really on our side. So yeah, the times wasn't too fast.
The guys worked hard on the car last night, didn't they? How is it today compared to yesterday?
Same amount of work. It's flat out in between the 6-hour-long breaks, so it is like it should be.
And your hopes for this afternoon? Obviously, you were on the grid and it absolutely poured down with rain. It's bright sunshine now. The forecast says it's going to rain again. You're the local. A, what's it going to do? And B, what would you like it to do?
First of all, I'd like to have the same conditions as the others when I'm racing. That would be nice to start with. And then from there on, if it's rain or dry, it doesn't really matter. I think now I'm out in the last heat, so track used to be slower and slower if it's raining and then stop raining and gets greasy. So if it's raining, I would like it to consistently rain throughout the session. If it's dry, yeah, then it's easy, it's dry.
So Kristoffersson saying just about the changing weather conditions and changing grip levels here. Next to him on the grid was Kevin Eriksson. Kevin, of course, hasn't lined up competitively for 2 years. He's never actually raced the Honda before, according to his dad, Andreas. They're doing development work. Didn't quite go according to plan in Q2.
Kevin, the guys are working on the Civic after Q2 ahead of Q3. Beautiful sunshine now. It absolutely wasn't beautiful sunshine at the start of your last race, though, was it?
No, I mean, we were all standing here looking beforehand. It was, oh, rain, not. And then, of course, on the start line, it just starts to fall down like crazy. But it stopped quite quickly, I would say, after half a lap. So it was okay to race after that, but it was very slippery the first lap. Took a good decision to break in behind Johan, and he kind of went too quick, went wide. And I got, very nice and tidy up on the curb, used the curb to my advantage. Got a slight hit from Johan over the jump, which bent my rear toe arm, but the biggest problem I had was that I missed the brake pad. I had a problem on the warm-up where I lost the brakes, and I was like, last lap I kind of stopped, and the same thing happened here after 2 corners. I was like, oh, on the radio, no brakes, and I was just waiting for to pull off. But then all of a sudden they said I anyway had the speed, and I was like, okay, how is this even possible? but during the run, pedal goes more and more and more away, and absolutely no handbrake. So yeah, was kind of just trying to hang on, and into the Joker, I just tried to use the pendulum. I went too early, and I kind of had to back out of it. So in risk of destroying the car. So yeah, tough one, but looks promising anyway.
Frustrating, but with the way the event is and it's spread out, I know we haven't got long before Q3 this afternoon, but the guys can get it fixed. Ultimately, you're here for test and development. I know you want to do as well as possible, but good to find that not only in Q2 of this event, but also for the future as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a very late decision to come here as well. It is the test car we've been using, and I was prepping the car myself, so maybe I can just blame myself that I didn't shake the brake pads and the condition of them. So, it's on me, and yeah, but it's a shame. Anyway, the times were bad in the round, but it's always fun to win a heat, and that's the case. But anyway, I'm pretty sure it will start to rain plenty before Q3. So, and I've never driven this car in rain, so that's a brand new story.
Well, I like the fact that Kevin at least blamed himself for preparing his own car. His dad's out there, say, running in a set of brake pads. Now they lost the brake pad from the caliper. Bit of a nightmare. Now we can kind of understand the weird line down into the hairpin, but all good stuff. Looking forward to the session. It's not raining yet. Sun's still shining outside. We've got a guest here, Cabot Bigham. Good to see you. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It's my first time experiencing Nordic Rallycross, so I'm pretty stoked.
Indeed. How much have you been enjoying it? Because obviously, like you did ARX, which I was announcing, and you've done Nitro, and that's all very top-level factory team stuff. And now suddenly you're here. There's some pretty wild cars out in the paddock, aren't there?
Oh yeah, no. Some of the classes are actually hilarious. The open two-wheel drive, those guys have built absolutely anything they could have possibly dreamed of, and they're out there ripping it door to door.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it?
My favorite car is the station wagon.
Oh, yeah. Mate, we were chatting about. We'll get on to open two-wheel drive in a minute. We're going to start with Junior Crosscar. This one is Persson, Hallen and Nilsson. Very quick early start. Hallinan from start 2 on the grid. Persson absolutely got left behind. Hallinan gone straight to the inside line. Lalami trying to go around the outside. Going to cut back into P3, I think. No, just alongside. Managed to get alongside Eric Nilsson. Nilsson does, though, hold on, but it's Hallinan who kind of gets the whole shot, I suppose, by the time we get to turn 3, Hal.
Finally, the juniors have some clean track conditions without it having rained just before. Kevin Eriksson was pretty adamant in that interview that it was going to rain for Q3. We've got a while before Supercar. Yeah, Hallinan runs very wide and slow.
It's going to get picked up. Hallinan gets picked up there. That's not ideal.
Yulalami and Persson, that is...
I think that's going to have to get red flag, personally, if they're going to sit there. Those cars are all hooked up on each other. He got sideways, didn't he, coming down the hill, backed it in, and then the rear wheels came off the tarmac onto the loose.
That's exactly what we were talking about with Anton Markland earlier, wasn't it? Once you get that over-rotation in a rear-wheel drive car, you get past the point of no return, don't you? And there's not enough lock or modulation on the throttle that's going to save you at that stage.
Okay, I wonder.
I reckon they'll all get going.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm sure race control will be looking to see.
No, completely wrong.
I'll take that.
Cheers for that, lads.
Commentators, because I reckon they'll all get going. I'll tell you what, I reckon...
Yulalami's up on the side crash bar of Hallinan.
It's double wave yellows at the minute, so let's... they're
just
not on the
line.
line. I'd say, well, that's a fair old decision from race control there. They're gonna carry on. It wasn't as big an impact as it looked. It was on the loose and spinning round, but still not ideal.
But more than half of the cars in the race are in that instance, so at least you don't have to worry about too many cars passing it every time. Obviously, once the drivers have been past it once, they know where it is. So really, as long as they know the drivers are okay, which they should be, it was a very slow speed impact.
Yeah.
I think it's the right decision.
Well, this seems like a good time to bring Cabot Bigham in, because there's not so much action going on in this one. Cabot, that's suboptimal.
Oh yeah, look at that. I mean, that's, like you said, it's super slow impact, and I'm actually kind of amazed that they just kept it as a double yellow. I thought a red flag would for sure come out.
I guess because they're offline. I'm going to say it is Nordic. We do tend to carry on sometimes when other series might stop, but I think they're safe enough where they are. All the kids have stayed in the cars, so I think it's good. Were you amazed when you learned these guys can be as young as 11, guys and girls?
I think I just learned that.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So there you go. Are you amazed?
I am amazed, yeah, exactly.
It's great, isn't it?
No, it is. I really like the idea of I imagine it's called the Crosscar, yeah, Junior Crosscar. Crosscar.
Yeah, Crosscar Junior. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. So being able to get into that before, let's say, a Lites car or even one of the open two-wheel drive, depending on where you want to go, it's a great feeder system.
Really good. And so, I mean, Cabot, what's your background? Obviously, I know you from ARX and Nitro Rallycross. You're doing Nitro Rallycross again this year. We'll talk about your testing and stuff later on. How have you come up through the motorsport ranks? You're just a Rallycross man.
Well, I originally started in shifter karts. That's when I got serious about my career and wanted to translate that into some sort of motorsport outside of go-karting. So I went from shifter karts to Formula 3. I raced Pro Mazda on a regional-based circuit over in the West Coast.
Pro Mazda, that was one of the feeder series towards IndyCar, wasn't it, Pro Mazda?
It was. So my intent was to run a privateer team and I won a championship doing so, and then I went to test with an IndyCar team for Road to Indy. But that was a little bit out of my price range there. So
that's understandable. So you would have loved something like this back in the day, mate. Oh, okay, there must have been a point, I suppose, at which you decided to go from circuit racing to... Let's have a look at this and see. So it's Hallinan. I think it'll take us a little while to get there. It's Hallinan who is leading in the Edge buggy, and it is Edge, isn't it, Hal?
Yeah, mega start from Hallinan, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good.
Seldom do you see a gap like that after the first corner. Nielsen was having a good fight for second, and then we're going to see the moment over the top of the hill. See how much more the junior cars move around now it's dry, and they're carrying that little bit more momentum up the hill here, and then down into the braking zone. And I think he's just going to get... he's got the rotation. He's got too much rotation done on the way in, run too wide. That gravel on the outside so loose, isn't it? And there's not like I said, he's past the point of no return. Nothing he can do, nothing the guys behind can do either. It's just it wasn't even, we were talking about clumsy instance in the last session. It wasn't that. It was just unfortunate. Nothing any of those guys could do to avoid that.
It's funny that this angle, it looks a harder impact than the other. The other angle, you see, it really was a lower speed impact. Oh, now we're here. I always feel like we should be playing the Benny Hill music here at this point, and as everybody runs around and tries to untangle it, Cabot, that's it's a bit of a mess.
Oh, for sure, a mess. Yeah, look at that. I mean, I'm actually, one of the cool parts about experiencing this is they have that front end loader that takes the cars up, and it looks like a massive forklift.
Yeah, it's great, isn't
it? It's wild.
I love that the first time anyone comes to Scandinavia and sees Rallycross, that's one of the big highlights. It was for me the first time I came. They're just awesome machines, aren't they?
It's just like we're just going to get this plate underneath here, going to scoop this bad boy up, and we'll dump what remains.
The best thing is when they're going through the paddock and the car's above the top of the truck, so they can get around the corners.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's slightly freaky, isn't it?
I could probably fit 2 or 3 of them on there.
Yeah, we could just scoop them all up in one go, couldn't
exactly.
we? Okay, what did we say? Race control. Where are we headed now? Oh God! So. This was yesterday when me and Hal were told we were going to taste some candy. Have a look. No. Is it the thing?
No, if it's actually the fish, I'm leaving.
Shrimp calamari.
You will do your own sandwich.
Why is there a dry potato?
So, knäckemacka is like the thing in Sweden.
Is that it, mate?
Kinda.
It is, isn't it? Nobody eats this.
Oh!
No way. Absolutely no way. No chance.
No.
Jesus. I've got a dog. That's the sort of thing I pick up in a black bag and put in a bin. That's exactly what it smells like. That's no good. Look at Oliver. What's wrong with you?
No way. No way.
I can't eat much of it.
Oh my days.
You know. No, Sweden.
Where's the ambulance? Get the ambulance on standby.
Ruin it.
You are a brave soul.
Wow. Applause.
God bless Andrew. God bless Andrew.
What? I'm sorry, Sweden. I'm sure you're lovely people, but that is wrong.
All right.
Let's go.
No chance. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys, very much. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, that's nasty.
I still don't know why you did that.
Well, we're going to be there a long, long time. I figured if one of us, I had to take one for the team. Now, Fraz appreciated it. Fraz said, "God bless Andrew." What did you say, Hal?
You're an idiot.
I think it's a fair comment. So So yes, thank you very much, producer Kalle, who I did threaten to give concrete Wellington boots in the harbour, but he managed to escape that last night and is still with us over there. And it actually is a pretty fun edit. I must admit, I wouldn't really recommend that ever, to be honest. Actually, didn't you have some, Robert, the director, who's talking to me in my ears? Okay, we've got some top 3 moments here. What on earth happened there? Have a look at this. Tidy move from Thomas Martens. Really nicely done. Now, Hal, contact in the background. Half spin after that contact. That's Josephine Holmqvist. Oh, no way! Straight over the top. Maja Niemi. 2 cars on top of each other. That's surely going to be red flagged. I'm not even sure how they're going to get out of that. Those guys will be perfectly okay, but that is the most interesting finish position to a crash I think I've ever seen. The other thing, Hal, is, of course, this isn't a standard 6-lap semi-final. This is a 4-lapper, so it's about whether he can get those 2, and that's not what he needed. Gets squeezed to the inside line. Right, Enzo, big deep breath, reset. Let's go. Okay, well, that was that's one way of doing it. I don't know what's happened there, Hal.
I think that probably a degree of frustration, isn't there? He's you know, he got shoveled off a bit in the previous one. He's got squeezed into the wall there again.
If that's it, the trouble is whether they black flag him for that. If they black flag him for it, does that mean he doesn't make it through to the final and we get a reserve, or do we just have a 5-car final that we're in territory I'm not sure about with only 3 cars in the semi? Oh, black flag Enzo Eid. So now I really don't know what's going to happen from this one, because we've got a DNS for Linneman and Roman. So black flag's a DQ, Hal. That means you don't progress. Two from row 2. Osterberg gets up the inside of immediately of Arenden. Locked wheels. Contact there between Riasson taken out. Osterberg, we've got a roll car, got to be a red flag, 100%. Will potentially change the feeling of the car.
Of course, but it's also on the right side. Andrea Orviestas is definitely going to be making an edit of this, because Ike's chef is videoing the repair work going on. So I've said absolutely not, because Osterberg didn't do anything wrong, but it's how they interpret the cause of the red flag. Joel Kristoffersson there on the left, not happy either.
Right, he said, that's what I say, all 3, you are out. Now, Hal's watching his watch because he's seen Joel Kristoffersson pull his phone out of his pocket and he's about to message the RallyX Nordic group. Personally, I think take a breath. It's too late if the decision's been made, but where's Halberg? Hold on, Hal, just a second. Osterberg and Riasson gone, along with Jarkko Arinen. Halberg with a great start down towards turn 1. Eganson sliding in behind. Oh, come on! We're going to do red flag this and exclude them too. If they're hooked up, there should be another one. Halberg's done the right thing to get away there, just to the point of view that it's not causing a red flag. He's not going to win, though. It's going to be Räikkönen. This is the hardest race I've ever commentated. There's only 2 cars in it.
I don't really understand how. His time. He's done his total time's a 2:08, and the other guys are a 2:28, but he's a lap behind.
Let me shorten that sentence for you. I don't really understand. That's the whole sentence for this final. Yes, get in. Job done for Tommi Räikkönen from P6 on the grid. Won't have been what he expected. Won't have been the way he wanted to win it, but it doesn't really matter. A win's a win. Just don't roll it now. Do the donuts.
I feel a bit bad that we haven't given him enough praise in this final, but you know, ultimately he made a great start in the first attempt, stayed out of trouble. You've got to stay out of trouble if you want to succeed, haven't you?
That's the Benny Hill music, if you're wondering. The marshals are still out there, and we appear to have some sort of a mad jigsaw puzzle. We're going to have to redo that edit, aren't we, Peter? Get editing. We can remove number 3 and we can add this one as the RallyX Nordic runs over by 3 hours. We're going to try and unhook Yulilami here. Okay. Well, there we go. I think we've got some shots of Nitro Rallycross. We've got Cabot Bigham in the booth with us now, so we might be able to take a look at some Nitro Rallycross and maybe have a bit of a chat about this as well.
ready for the lights to come on. So the sequence of lights, all the reds light up.
Okay, so this was back in Utah. This was 2019. It's myself and Tess Sewell, you can hear in the background. We were announcing this one. I've been lucky enough to be at both the Nitro Rallycross events in 18 and 19. And it was a banger. It was here we go, here we go, here we go.
Maybe got a problem. Kevin Hansen got round down into turn one. Up the inside, that's Ken Block managed to get. Ken Block's going on the tight line. Timmy Hansen's gone up the inside of Ken. We've got 3 cars that have gone to the low tabletop on that one. Sideways into the Timmy's door. Tanner Fausti's in the mix there as well. So I think it's Timmy, Tanner and Ken have gone low. Ken up the inside of Tanner.
Wow, look at that tabletop and Ken. Absolutely
5 cars
collected
in the air on the very first lap. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. Cabot Bigham, you're here with us. Did you do 18 and 19 or just 19? I can't remember. Just 19, wasn't it?
Just 19.
Yeah. Dude, it's such an amazing place, isn't it, Utah? We were talking to Kevin Hansen yesterday, and he was like, look, my top 3 favourite things I've ever done. And he was like, number 1, Utah, Nitro Rallycross. And that's cool, isn't it? We've been lucky enough in the World Championship to have been to a bunch of the best rallycross tracks in the world, but it's kind of rewritten the rule book on what you can do. What were your thoughts when you first got there?
I was terrified.
Yeah.
I was absolutely terrified. Yeah, I mean, the gap jump is massive, and then you have these tabletop features, which I've never seen really outside of like motocross and stuff like that. And then double step-ups, all these crazy features, right, on a rallycross track of all things. So I was just nervous. I couldn't keep the car in one piece, but fortunately I had a great team behind me, and they taught me the way. I had Tanner as a teammate, and he's obviously done some crazy stunts in his career, right? So
there's crazy stunts on every lap in Nitro Rallycross, isn't it? I mean, it's just, I remember walking in between the grandstands on the first time I arrived, you sort of going up the steps and looking at it, I was like, oh, there's a piece of the track missing. You're like, looking from one side to the other, and then you see the branding. It's not missing, is it? That's a gap jump, isn't it? It's a big boy. And then the tunnel and that shot on the first lap of 5 cars in the air is awesome. It's going to be a great show.
Oh, for sure. You can't really beat the 3 layers, right? You have the gap jump, and then the tabletop, and then someone's running underneath and the Joker, right? So there's layers to the madness there. So.
Talk us through the first time you did the gap jump, because when Kevin Hansen did it for the first time, his spotter Graham Rodemark, who's one of the hardest men in rallycross, looked absolutely petrified. How are you feeling? Like, what's the training program for it? Because I know Travis, we're talking about how wild it is, but Travis, it's all very calculated. The takeoff, the land, the jump speed, the gap, the landing, it looks wild, but it's a process.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a huge mental element to it, right? At the end of the day, you could say it's just a mathematical equation, right? Everything's been calculated, your takeoff, how far you need in order to land. So for me, I mean, I was still obviously terrified to run this, but in order to get some practice jumping, I ran some short course off-road trucks. You jump pretty far in those things. Obviously no gap jumps, but regardless, you know how to make a car fly and set the attitude before you launch. So the great thing about Nitro is we dedicate a lot of time to getting our speed set and making sure we know exactly what RPM and exactly what to hear in the car before we approach the gap jump. So we do some demo runs on the straightaway, we do some demo runs going up to the jump, and eventually we end up going to hit it.
And what's that feeling like in the air? I remember talking to people who did gap jumps at X Games years ago now, and you can't see, can you? So it's quite not a relief, but the first time you pull it off and you realise you can do it again and again. It's about getting over it the first time, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, once you hit it the first time, you're much less scared. Obviously, there's an element of danger to it every time you go up to it, but the only thing you can see when you approach that jump is a massive mountain of dirt. So yeah, when you're in the air, I mean, it's an incredible feeling. You're in the air for quite a while, but yeah, you launch over that thing one time, and everything's much easier after that.
And you reference motocross. When you're flying a car, there's so much you can do with the attitude of the car, with being on the brakes or the throttle. Just to explain that process a little bit.
Yeah, so typically the rule of thumb is you want to kind of set the nose when you're going up into a face of a jump, and then you get on the throttle and try to accelerate off of it. And what that does is it sets the weight to the rear of the car and keeps the nose up in the air. Because one of the worst things you can do is nosedive on a jump, and then, God forbid, whatever happens next. So one cool thing we did when we were running the Beetle there is when we were in the air, every now and then the nose would come down just a little bit more than we wanted. So we ended up shifting. We upshifted. and that would pull the nose up a tiny bit as we landed. So that was something we learned. Tanner actually discovered that before me. He's much more comfortable flying.
Apparently, yeah, he does spend a lot of time flying, doesn't he? Mostly in his aeroplane rather than a Volkswagen Beetle supercar, but fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So you're looking forward to this season. I know you're signed up, aren't you, for a whole season. Dreyer and Reinbold Racing running an ex-EKS-JC Audi S1, which I think you've tested this week.
I did, yeah. I had a chance to drive 2 days in it.
So, what was the feeling? I mean, we don't want you to say bad things about the Beetle, but or the Audi. How did it compare? Is there a comparison you can make for us?
Yeah, no, it was definitely interesting. I mean, both cars are incredible, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Beetle's a benchmark. Obviously, in American Rallycross, it's just an incredible machine. It really was.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So the immediate thing I noticed with the Audi is how responsive it was and how much harder you can actually charge into a corner and still get the car set and turned and then set. And leave, and it made a lot of rear grip despite being, prone to turning in very well. And I think part of that just comes down to the wheelbase.
Yeah,
the Audi's wheelbase is shorter than the Volkswagen. So with the Volkswagen, there were times at tracks where I'd feel more understeer, and I haven't felt that I haven't felt that yet with the Audi. I'm sure there will be a time and place for that, but that was my immediate reaction.
So you like the car straight away. It feels good. Do you know whose settings you were using? Was it a Johan setup, a Matthias setup? Any ideas?
I have an idea. I don't know if I can say.
No, that's fine. That's cool. That's cool.
But the way it was set up, I mean, it was bad fast. It was really fun to drive, and I wish I had another week with it before it gets shipped over to the States. But
yeah, it's going in a container, isn't it, on Tuesday?
Yep.
Were you conscious of the fact that you needed to be a little bit careful with it on the basis that there was 3 days to repair it before they put it in a box for 6 weeks on a boat?
Absolutely, and that was part of the reason I didn't get the chance to race this weekend.
Yeah, well, me and Hal were discussing actually on the way here. I was like, Cabot's been testing, and I was like, why hasn't Cabot entered? So that was the reason.
Yeah, the turnaround time is just too short.
Okay.
So otherwise,
but now you're seeing Fraser and you're seeing Kevin, and you're thinking, maybe I could have risked it. I mean, is there a bit of you that wishes you'd just gone for it anyway?
I still wish I could have done it. It's the team that gave me the hard no.
Okay,
so,
it's a hard no.
Yeah, they're like, we can't do it.
This is not a negotiation.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Right, we finally unhooked 19,000 junior cross cars, 3 actually to be precise, and we're ready for the next one. So this has got in it Gustafsson, Lunderlander, Lidman, Holmqvist and Oskarsson. Championship front runners are Anderson and Gustafsson, and obviously Anderson was in that last race. Tricky conditions for them last time out. Brilliant start on the inside line this time for Alex Gustafsson. Easy hole shot down towards the first corner. How this is quite mad for them, really, because I think this is the first time in these, this weekend that they've actually gone into turn 1 in dry conditions.
Yeah, and you can just see the difference, can't you? The amount of grip they've got compared to earlier today or even yesterday. You can just rely. You're relying on the grip, aren't you? They have to feel their way around the first corner before. Now they can pitch it in. They know where the grip is, and local lad Alex Gustafsson will be hoping to. He had a difficult day yesterday, didn't he? So hoping to get his head down and set a fast time.
Yeah, where was Alex? Alex yesterday had a 42 and a 38, which is, where's my little chart? That is a P3 and a P6 he had yesterday. P3 is not bad, but obviously it's only 10 cars and he really is used to being right up at the front. Gustafsson, champion last year, 2 wins last year, 1 at Hollius and 1 at Arvika. This year, 3 wins, 2 at Hollius and 1 at Oulu. In terms of the championship fight, there's 5 points in between them once you take drop scores into account. How was Anderson in the 3 cars that retired, or one of the finishers? I'm just trying to see from the previous race.
I think Anderson finished second. No, he went.
No.
He went out.
He went out. So actually,
he did go out. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
it was Nilsson and Pearson that finished the last.
Yeah.
So it was Anderson that went in the back of that pack. Yeah, so not ideal.
No.
The only good thing for him is that with only 10 cars, obviously you can, it's not the end of the world.
And also he was P2. So Anderson was P2, having won Q2. Q1, and then in Q2 he had a P5. So he's had a P1 and a P5, and that put him up in second place. So
while this has definitely played into Gustafsson's hands, Gustafsson was a fair way down the order. I actually think what the net result of it's going to be is they're going to be very close together in qualifying, aren't they? They're both having a not perfect weekend. I suppose the key is whether or not they can drag themselves up the grids for the semi-finals, because if one of them goes out in the semis, doesn't make it through, which is conceivable, especially when you see what happened in that last race, they're going to want to get up that grid if they can. Yeah,
grid position's really important, even if there are only 10 cars, like I said, so you do make the semis. Being towards the front of the semi-grid, the staggered grid makes a big difference to the start procedure. Gustafsson fastest at the moment at the end of the last lap, but Nilsson had jokered on lap 2. Did Alex joke? Then he did, sorry, I was just looking down at the time. He's now dropped behind Nilsson by
0.5.
Half a second, you're right, Andrew. So, a big push on this last lap, and, he could easily still do it.
So Gustafsson,
it is a big push as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit, that was big cut maybe on the inside, wasn't it? That was a proper bit of ditch hooking. So Gustafsson, with a big old ditch hook across the gravel trap, he's on a mission. Let's see him as he comes down the hill. Watch this. On the brakes, just getting it turned in slightly. Beautifully done. Look at that, runs to the front right, just around the edge of the curb. He's looking to capitalise on this now. He's going to know what happened through the long right-hander look with a bit of left steering on, which tells you he's doing it all on the gas. Now into the hairpin. Beautifully done. Can Gustafsson go to the top of the table? A little bit of bog down on the exit, and he goes P2. Nilsson wins the session. Gustafsson gets second place, but crucially, Anderson is showing us P10. So Gustafsson is going to get 45 points from this one.
That was a mega last lap from Nilsson in the previous race, wasn't it? Because Gustafsson was on it then, wasn't he?
Just that last corner, it was only the last corner, I thought he was slightly...
But he didn't lose a second there, did he?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And that's the thing, this is what we mean about the grid positions. Okay, these two have been the standouts this year, if you like, but it doesn't mean that it's a done deal. If we get to the semi-finals and they're not up at the front, you get traffic and you can't pass, you can be in a world of pain. So it's close between them. 5 points between them at this point.
And it's nice being able to see them push on the limit now, rather than... I enjoy mixed conditions because it mixes things up a bit. And, the supercar order is all over the place like every other class, but...
Look at that. Oi!
So there's not massive time loss there, is there? Just an indication as to how hard he was.
I just love it. That's the line that should be taken. Hang on a minute. Yeah, that's a little dance there for the epicness of the maximum attack. Oh, there's a dog. I'm in. Got dogs. Got people dancing. I imagine there's a hot dog somewhere out there. I mean, we're gonna have a beer tonight. It's happy days, really, Hal. Hal's wholly unimpressed.
No, I am impressed.
Oh, yeah.
Always, it's Rallycross.
Alex Gustafsson, 324.4, P2 in the session.
I was just wrapping up for the results.
It's fine, mate. It's all good. It's all good. Long sessions, aren't they? Let's have a look at the standings in open two-wheel drive as we go into Q3. Emil Oman leads from Simon Tiger. Simon Tiger wasn't... we spoke to Simon this morning, at length actually, about the weather, and he said that he doesn't like driving in the wet, but that his family would be watching at home, which was cool. And then his dad beat him. So Frederick Tiger, in the second race, when we said to Simon, do you think that's a quick enough time? I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll get beaten. And you can see Frederick Tiger in the 1-2-3 car in P4 managed to beat Simon's time. So... Urban Bergstrom is the favourite car of Cabot Bigham. Urban is the guy with the station wagon.
Yeah, that thing rips.
Yeah. We need. Should we like campaign for Nitro to have like an entry-level station wagon class?
Absolutely. That would go absolutely viral.
I think it would
for
too.
Sure.
I think it would too. I really want to see a what's the car that they have in National Lampoon's Vacation? With the it's got wood panels.
The Woody, the station wagon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can we? Are there enough of those about anymore?
You get splinters everywhere.
Yeah. It would be carnage. It's got a puncture. He's driven over a piece of wood. Okay, so we've got Tiger, Christensen and Persson. I'm not sure I've ever seen father and son side by side on the grid heading into turn one. Frederick has been beaten down to the first corner anyway by Simon Tiger, so Simon gets the whole shot. Coming around the outside is Stefan Christensen in the Mark III Escort, tucks in behind. Frederick Tiger goes into P3, and that is exactly what Simon Tiger will have wanted. So this year, I'm trying to think how many times he's managed to get TQ. It's a lot. Simon's had TQ 1, 2, 3, 4 times. He was beaten to the TQ by Matthias Janssen in Hollius. Was that when it rained, Hal? I think it was, yeah. And he said this morning, didn't he? I suppose he did say I don't like rain, didn't he? He was pretty honest, wasn't he?
That's all he said, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like rain, fair enough.
At least he's honest about it, there was no messing about.
Funny, since since earlier in the season he wasn't able to get the start sorted because they hadn't had any dry weather at home to do the start testing. You have seen a father and son start side by side before, anyway.
Where?
He was in the World Championship, but I'll let you think about that.
Father and son side by side in the World Championship.
It was in Turkey.
Blimey. It was a long time ago. It was 2014, isn't it, Turkey? Did we go there once or twice? Once. Twice. Father and son. I'm going to have to think for a long time, Hal. You best go on.
Frederick Tiger getting up the inside of
while I have a think.
Person. That was a really tidy move from a very, very experienced Supernational Rallycross driver. Person runs wide on the way into the Joker. Gets it turned in though. The Golf looks very short on the wheelbase, doesn't it? You know, compared to the Porsche and the M3.
I can't remember how. Who was it?
Well, we've got a while. You can.
I just have to start giggling results. Oh, Christensen picks up understeer, yeah, and then gets on the gas. That is my favourite place to stand at this circuit. That camera's on a little tower just above the Armco, but you can stand right behind the Armco, and they are very, very close. I don't think there's any way you can stand in the World Rallycross that is. Where's your favourite place to stand, actually, Hal? Inside turn 1 of the S-Ring was always epic.
Yeah. Bottom of the hill at Lyddon. In the middle, on the island in the middle.
I was going to say, I've not stood on the island, I've always been on the outside. No, I'd like to do that, that'd be cool.
Bit of jeopardy.
Yeah, it's all good though, that's what keeps it going, that's what keeps it lit. Cabot, does this make you want to come and have a taste of some of these circuits as well?
Oh, for sure. I mean, this one looks super tight, technical.
It is technical, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's really old school and traditional.
It looks quick too. I mean, if you're running a supercar or anything with big power, you got to get into a rhythm here.
Yeah. Have you been really impressed by anyone? I mean, I guess the kids are impressive. They're all impressive, aren't they? But there's some great drivers in Nordic.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm a little biased towards the American groups, right? So I think Lane Michaela and George McGuinness is doing a hell of a job.
McGuinness has been incredible, hasn't he?
For sure.
Simon Tiger going to go Joker. His father is the current leader. Whistling it up over the line. The variety of engine noise in open two-wheel drive is just really very cool indeed. I love that car. Everybody wants to have a go in that car. Do you fancy going Simon Tiger's car?
Oh man, what, the E30 M3?
Yeah.
That's definitely Pete. That's my second choice right there. Yeah.
What's the first choice? The station wagon?
I need to rip the station wagon for sure. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's so cool, isn't it? So when's the station wagon up? Oh, next. Station wagon's up next. So that's an estate car if you're in the UK, a combi if you're in Sweden. And if you're somewhere else in the world and you call it something else, please do send us a tweet or a DM on Instagram. We'd love to hear about it. It's a bit like the whole argument, you know, car park, parking lot, boot, trunk, flashlight, torch. There's a ton of them. Simon Tiger from Frederick Tiger. Revenge for Q2 earlier on today, because this is actually Q3 now. Stefan Christensen and Michael Persson are the P3 and P4 cars. This one has got Morten B. Bertelsen on the pole. P2. Said it was Crazy Mike on P2, but Crazy Mike seems to be in P3. I think they've got them the wrong way around on the grid, Hal, because our graphics are saying the same.
They were equal on points. So.
Okay. So, well, Crazy Mike's outside. Emil Oman. Where's and then we've got Urban Bergström. Okay, this grid, I think the grid's totally different than what we're expecting, Hal. Because Urban Bergström is our man.
Yeah, he's
with the station wagon.
Yeah.
So something. Oh dear. Okay, and that's also Mats Janssen. So the grids. The grids here are completely different than what we've got on our graphics and what we've got on our paperwork. So I suspect somebody's been moved in the results, unbeknown to us. Maybe
it's the same people, but just in the wrong. No, sorry, Bergström and Janssen on.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. It's all good.
So,
and yet, unless Janssen took a penalty, that's the slowest race.
Yeah.
Don't know. Pass.
No, exactly. It's yeah, if he was moved down, you can understand it. Unless... How's he... Okay. We have no idea.
Bertelson's going well, though.
Answers on a postcard, please.
His dad got in touch with me after the last round. Just a bit of info about the car and other such geekery. But
Go on,
yeah.
what's the info? I'd love a bit of it.
So it's an ex-touring car. So it was used in Belgium and Holland, and it's running... they bought it with work to do, so they've fully rebuilt it, and they're going to build a better engine for next year. 1.8 turbo. I love the 20-valve turbo VW engine, very versatile, isn't it? And yeah, 17 years old, doing a great job, I think. I've flown a little bit under the radar, but can't be easy to drive a Fabia with such short wheelbase. You know, these BMWs, like the Golf in the last one. I'm not saying they're ineffective.
No, but it's so much more progressive with a bigger, longer chassis, and the short chassis rear-wheel drive cars look like a handful at times.
Yeah, and I think just a lot of learning going on this year to get on top of it, and the lap times have been pretty impressive. The thing with, the wonderful thing about Crosscar Junior, Crosscar Lites is the cars are identical, or basically identical. Okay, cross cars have different chassis manufacturers, but they're all very similar. In this, it's so open that you can have a slight deficit on one area, be that power, transmission, whatever, and it shows. There's a black flag for Bertelsen.
Right, I wonder why.
Massive curse from me. Sorry, mate.
Never mind. Oman is on a bit of a mission here. He's jokered, trying to see where Tiger... I think Tiger's going to be quicker, but I have to say he's looking good.
Fastest yesterday, wasn't he, Emil Owen, in Q1?
You thought the Beetle was a big chassis. Some of the cars in this class are just unreal, aren't they?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm complaining about a longer wheelbase, and you look at some of these things running. I mean, and there's also the guy with the... Is this a front-wheel drive car?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a front-wheel drive and a short wheelbase. I mean...
that is Mad... Crazy Mike, sorry. Not Mad Mike, because Mad Mike's the drift guy, isn't he? I think. And so this is Crazy Mike.
Crazy Mike.
We haven't quite figured out why. Hal, are you in the comments trying to figure out what's going on?
No, I'm in the comments looking at who's got the question I posed to you correct. Slavomir Wallach, who would normally be here with the KMS team,
got the question
has got it right, so you need to pull your finger out.
Honestly. The trouble is, I can't remember what happened yesterday.
No, nor can I, to be honest. Yesterday was a bad day.
Yeah, well, actually, it was a bad day, for Hal, bless him. It was a bad day. He's feeling much better today, which is cool. Right, Oman takes it. The time was... it was quicker. 3:17.8. I thought he looked quick, but interestingly, after
Mega,
lap
it was
3... So was it a really cool... Yeah, it was a great... Must have been a...
Mega joker.
Yeah. An amazing last lap.
And look at that start, and also an awesome start. There's Janssen taking a nudge from Bertelsen. That's what the black flag will be for, I'd imagine, and...
Because he's driven through him.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
because there was a bit of contact mid-corner, and then on the exit, Janssen's got a bit more sideways, and that's avoidable, really, isn't it? But of course, in a race environment, it's so difficult to get your head round lifting in that situation.
Andy Scott and Mark Scott.
Who's texted you?
Nobody. I was just trying to remember who it was.
My goodness. Wow.
You impressed?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm stoked now. I was just trying to think, and then I was thinking who was there, and then I thought I bet it's in the support category. I was like, no, it's only the RX2 was with us on the 1 year, and Tom Cole won the prize drive and got the podium. And
when did he finish?
Tom.
Where did he finish?
Third.
Yeah.
You impressed with that?
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Sorry, being Hannah just fist pumping in the commentary box because I've remembered stuff. It's a good I have to remember it quickly, isn't it? It only took me 3 minutes 17.821 to remember that. There we are. There we are. Right. Oh, yeah, we're trying to... Let's see, race control, can you let us know what was going on in that last race? Because, say, we've seen Matthias Janssen move from race 4 to race 2. If you can let us know, that'd be great. Because we really weren't sure. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on with this one either, to be honest. This grid is completely wrong. Your grid is right on the screen, we think. Okay, down towards turn 1 on the inside line. Cabot Bingham's favourite. Urban Bergstrom takes the whole shot in the station wagon. And then Look at that, just fully lit on the exit, jumping it, and then into the right-hander. Cabot, this is your #1 car in the paddock.
Oh yeah, by far. This thing absolutely hauls.
It hauls.
Oh yeah.
This is why I'm gonna have to increase my vocabulary, because hauls is a great word. It is hauling, isn't it? It's just so unlikely, isn't it? So we did have, I don't know if you're familiar with, look at that!
Dude, just getting after it.
Being terribly English about it, if you put a tow bar on the back of it, it could haul all sorts of things.
A caravan. Yeah. I'll tell you what though, when he's sending it, but I would argue this is not a Christopherson style in terms of you're losing time by going too sideways. He's also laying down the longest black marks on the exit. Did you see them from the exit of the last corner?
That's not a thing in Supernatural though, is it? What? Being too tidy.
No, exactly. And I'm enjoying it, but you can see that behind he's being chased down fairly effectively. Yeah, so British touring cars, Cabot. We had Volvo turned up to their press day one year and bought, was it the 840, Hal, the estate car? 850, sorry, yeah, estate car. And everyone was like, what is this? And it was a station wagon estate car. And it was great, wasn't it? A little heavy at times, obviously.
It wasn't as successful as the saloon version, but it was, as a marketing exercise, it was great. I mean, a couple of teams have done it subsequently, haven't they? Honda did it with the Civic, and Subaru did it with the Lavorg. Ash shot him on his championship in the state Lavorg, didn't he? So, I mean, ultimately, it's just a bit of steel over the back. It affects the aero a little bit, and there's a tiny bit more weight. But
I was going to say,
there's so much room in the back of that. I'll tell you to see it later. There's so much room in the back. They've got the radiator lying flat to take air. I guess it takes a bit of air from underneath. But you know how excited we got when Ekstrom turned up with the Audis and they had the ducts in the roof and in the side. Well, these guys, I mean, look at you can see the ducts on the roof there. There's so much potential for homebrewed development. Not homebrewed, these cars are professionally built, but you know, home solutions or own solutions to stuff, because the regulations are fairly open. I absolutely love this category.
Urban Bergstrom coming through the last corner, going to try and out-drag it to the line, goes around the outside line, so close, but surely he's got that, unless the transponders are looking dodgy. They're going on the final lap now anyway, so he's got a lap to go. So he does hold on. I thought it might be finish line. We've had some close finishes here, haven't we? And I must do like that about this last corner joker.
This could be on for a fastest time, you know. He's only 2 seconds behind, less than 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds behind Tiger was at this point.
And he's just done it.
And Tiger didn't joke until the last lap.
Right, here we go then. Oh, that's parked at the top of the hill, that's done. So, Cabot, the station wagon could be on for a fastest time. What are your American thoughts about that?
I'm all about it, man. I love this station wagon. Yeah,
it's brilliant. You should go and have a word with the dude and see if you can have a crack on Monday. When are you heading for home?
I'm headed out Monday.
Oh, in the morning or?
12:55. I leave the track Sunday and roll back to the airport.
Yeah, same for me. Arlanda? The capital.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And then
I'll race you.
Yeah?
No, that would be terrible. You will have seen on your way here, I'm sure there are a number of speed cameras, aren't there, in Sweden?
Oh, yeah. We came across the first one a little too fast, actually.
Did you? Interesting. I wonder if they'll post that all the way to the US of A for you. Awesome stuff.
Missed the fastest time by 9 tenths.
Oh, Hal, that's a bit gutting, isn't it? We would have liked that, wouldn't we? It was that turn one for me. In fact, his first lap and a half were epic. I mean, it was almost like if he hadn't been so sideways on lap one, I think potentially he could have gone quicker. But the end of lap one was just full send.
Good photos, as you would say.
Yeah.
Very Lada race reminiscent.
Yeah, brilliant.
I love the drone shots they're getting out here, too. I mean, this first-person view is crazy.
It's absolutely brilliant. That's a guy called Vigo Koch, who is Hal. He's been blowing our mind, hasn't he, for 2 years now.
It's just extraordinary. The imagery is extraordinary, isn't it? And what fascinated us when I mean, he's an amazing pilot, world champion pilot. But what staggered us at Julius last year for the Magic Weekend when we first saw it was you just see the car and the dynamics of a car in such a different way that you're so unused to. It's something you're really familiar with, but you're seeing it in a totally different perspective.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and actually, from a driving perspective, it's nice too because you can see exactly where you are online and how close they're getting you on certain parts of the track. I mean, it's
whether you're running wide. So a couple of times last year where we really weren't sure about whose fault something was, and we looked at it from every camera angle we had on the track. I knew it was like, nah, it's definitely his fault, definitely. And they were like, oh, we're going to roll you the drone. So like, I said, look at the drone footage, look at the drone footage. Oh, it's totally not his fault. It's definitely the other guy's fault. He got into him big time and span him round. So it's a brilliant piece of kit.
It is, yeah. No, I hope that, what is it, the guys doing the penalties in Nitro will have access to something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because you can just see, and he is amazing. Like last year, we had cars rolling and catching fire, and he'll be flying, chasing the pack. A car goes round, and he immediately spins the drone round and keeps the first person view on what you're chasing after. There he is. Is that Vigo or is that his other pilot? It is Vigo. Yeah.
He's
with the headset on.
He's amazing at what he does. He's also amazing at getting the action because obviously our friend Tom Banks, who photographs the WRC and World Rallycross Championship, was always begrudges being in the wrong place at the wrong time when there's a big incident because you never get it. Vigo gets it every time.
Nice thing about a drone, isn't it? You know,
I know, but you've still got to be aware, like, you know, when there's a spin or a crash, you've still got to be aware to turn around and still be filming.
Totally. I guess the advantage is Tom has to choose one corner, whereas Vigo gets to shoot them all, doesn't he? So, like, if Tom basically, Banksy, what you need is a big drone and you just sit on it and fly out taking photos. I have a feeling that's extremely dangerous. Probably not possible. I doubt they'd let you do it.
You need
over
a big
crowd,
drone to sit on it, though.
Here he is. Come
Isn't that called a helicopter?
Do something cool, Vigo. Can he hear us? Vigo, can you hear us? Yes.
Yay.
Do something cool with the drone. We're watching you now. Do something cool. Here we go. He's plugging stuff in. Don't crash it just because we're watching you now. He's heard us giving him the big ups. Thumbs up. Here we go. We probably won't catch it because of how quickly the drone flies. I don't know how wide a shot you've got here, Vigo. It's gonna need to. Here we go. Yeah,
I love hearing. You can just hear it all the time, can't you?
There we go. It's a big look. The loop.
Oh my God!
Imagine if you got the cameraman.
He's trying to follow it.
Anders is up. Can you get a thumbs up from Anders at the top of the tower? Where's Vigo? Vigo, go round Anders for us. There we go. We can't take Vigo shots live. I think we have to get the card in. So we're going to have a look at Anders in a minute. But there we are. There's Vigo's drone. It's mostly battery and GoPro, as you can see on the top. I tried to catch it in Oulu for the opening to our show, and we decided that was extraordinarily unsafe. So actually, we just flew it down the road. But Vigo was crashing it, well, not crashing it, skid landing it at my feet at the gate in Oulu. And I mean, he really is. He's a clever lad. He could easily go underneath those archways there, but we won't get him to do that with the marshals underneath. He's probably just done it. You can hear it whizzing off. Amazing. Right, this one then. Right, let's have another little adjusted grid. So this is Marcus Norman. We can see now what's happened. A few people have been bumped. It's Marcus Norman. I think it's a withdrawal.
That's Westman a second.
Yeah, and then
Oman
Thomas Oman. So I don't know. And he was earlier, wasn't he? So Marcus Norman, Linus Westman and Thomas Oman, and I say our apologies for confusion on the grids. It's literally been changed when they've been in the pre-grid, meaning we don't have the paperwork. So, the rotary engine wasn't going to get the job done there and has had to back out. So if that was too much RPM or just didn't quite get it right. And there's going to be a battle between Westman and Thomas Oman from the looks of things. Thomas Oman in the red, Westman in the black. And Marcus Norman with some work to do with the rotary engine Mazda. It was a tardy start for the Mazda. That's unusual.
It was, yeah. Very surprising. Westman, where he needs to be, though, as we discussed yesterday, on a mission to win in his only start of the season in a borrowed BMW. Did a difficult Q2. I think I've worked out, Andrew, what happened. I think Matthias Janssen was excluded from Q2, and I can only guess that he's been appealed that and reinstated it.
Which moved him up to race 2. Yes, Hal. Nearly took you as long as it took me to remember Andy and Mark Scott, but that's an impressive. Hal Rich is just so good, isn't he? What a legend. I've been looking down the grid sheets and figured it out. I'm looking at mine now. I'm still looking at Crosscar Junior, which is probably why I'm so confused as to what the points are. It's all good. It's all good. Oh, all the way in the dirt, right out to the barrier.
Westman's on a charge here, only half a tenth behind Emil Oman after the first lap. Tidy, isn't he? Finished on the podium here in Supercar last year in his Fiesta. Can't afford to run it this year. A lot of problems with sponsors for everyone in the motorsport world with the COVID pandemic affecting what budgets are available for things. So he's here for a one event, fun weekend to try and succeed while the Supercar sits at home ready for next year. How is it? He's gone quicker than Bergstrom after lap 2 by 6 tenths actually. So yeah, Western on a big charge.
I think something must be wrong for RallyX Nordic because he has jokered, but
has had a few reliability problems across the course of the year, hasn't it?
Yeah. What do you think about the rotary engines, Cabot?
That's the best sounding engine here, for sure. Yeah, it screams.
In an ideal world, you'd have the rotary engine in the station wagon.
I was just going to say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we have our one make series, which we're going to be starting then. So station wagons with rotary engines. I think. What do you think, Al?
I think Joel Kristoffersen's heavily invested in Rallycross there with Emil Oman spotting for Thomas.
Do you think Joel ever gets out of the spotter tower? Because I think every time we've gone there today with the camera, he's there. He's spotting Junior.
He might be one of the busiest people I know.
Yeah. How many classes is he running cars in? Junior.
Three here. They haven't got any lights. They haven't got any lights here.
So what? Junior, senior, and Supercar.
But obviously, he's a big family friend of the Omans, and you know.
Helping out there. I love that. He was also one of the first to help out, wasn't he, last year with the big crash with
Linus
Osland.
Yeah.
He went up and helped the guys at OMSC from a rival team, went and helped them fix the Lites car up in the final round of RallyX Nordic last year. It was brilliant. It's great. Joel's such a good guy. Was Joel at the test with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you get on?
Oh, great. I love him. Yeah, he's got a
awesome,
great attitude.
Yeah. He's such a hard worker, almost in the wall on the exit with the Joker, but it is Westman that takes it. So, yeah, Cabot, I mean, talk us, we're coming towards the end of Open 2-wheel drive.
Sorry, Andrew, just to conclude that quickly, missed out on the fastest time by a 10th from MLM.
Oh, he was close, wasn't he? So Simon Target gets
lost a little bit, ran a little bit wide in the latter part of the Joker, didn't he? But a good run.
He loved it, though, hand out the window.
Well, that gets him back where he needs to be, you know, with the quick guys at the front.
So, yeah, Joel was a good influence.
Absolutely, yeah. I learned a lot from him. And I went and looked at the Audis right now, what they're running, and their whole operation is very professional, super clean. So,
and is that, I mean, I guess you're obviously working pretty closely with Dreyer and Reinbold. Like, have you discussed with them of stuff like processes? Are there things you're going to take? They're a pro team. I'm not saying they're not, but are there things you can take away from here and go, look, I think we can consider this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be in our best interest to pick his brain. I mean, he has so much experience with the cards. Why not, go straight to the source?
Yeah, awesome. Results of that one then, Linus, Westman, Thomas, Oman, 317.995 for Linus, which, as Hal says, gets him up, I think, to P2 it was. We're going to head on to Crosscar. Let's have a look at the standings going into this one. At the moment then, Crosscar, reminder, the championship is between Hallberg, Osterberg and Eriksson, who are all on 117 points. At the minute, Hallberg in the TQ spot with 2 session wins. Osterberg, P2, and Eriksson is down in P7. So Eriksson had a clutch issue, didn't he, in the last one, Hal, when he was leading his race, and we thought he was going to drag himself up from P7. Doesn't want to lose championship points to those two at the front. At the minute, Osterberg and Hallberg, who are on P1, and is Osterberg's in P5 in this, so not so good in the last session. They're on opposite sides of the grid. So the black speed car on the right-hand side, and the white, black and orange edge machine on the inside. Hallberg versus Osterberg for the championship. You can't count out the drivers in the middle. Troy Svard and Eganson. Osterberg with a great start on the outside line, going to try and move across. Surely go, I'm not going to get across the car in the middle of the grid. It was Svard who had just enough room to make it tricky for Osterberg. Osterberg trying to go the long way around. Hallberg gets the whole shot. Osterberg going to have to slide into P3. Needs to keep the door shut on the inside. He can do that. Look how early Osterberg rotates that car. Every time he backs it in, How I love watching these things.
Yeah, he is brilliant, isn't he? But I have to say, Hallberg executed the first corner perfectly. Started getting the rotations on early.
Osterberg was alongside Hal. Go on.
Yeah, Hallberg started to get the rotation done early into the first corner, then just covered the line perfectly and got back to the apex. Osterberg's on a big push. Spark's having a great weekend compared to what we've seen so far this year.
Osterberg, I thought was going to go Joker then, and he does. That's a last-minute change. That's not a good move to change at the last minute like that. He should have just stuck to the left. When he went up to the top of the hill, I thought he was so close to him. I expected him to look to the inside, and he actually went to the outside line and was pretty much alongside in that braking zone, but I'm not sure about the decision to Joker like that late. I think there's half a second in that.
Difficult when you're coming over that crest. Obviously, it's very easy for me to say from here, but going to the left, there isn't really anywhere to go because all the guy on the inside's got to do is run a little bit deep, and you've got it covered off.
It's almost that thing of surprise, isn't it, where the guy's going, whoa, what's he doing over there, the local guy, and can he then get the undercut on the exit of the next right-hander? Hallberg out front. If he could win 3 sessions in a row. We asked him, we had an interview with him just before, at the end of the session. And we said, how's it going? What do you think about the championship fight? How are you feeling? He goes, well, it's a lot of fun. This Supercar championship fight, it is a lot of fun. But he said, I'm feeling confident. 2-session wins. So Hallberg from Osterberg is the leader of the... Look at the attitude in that car. He jumps on the brake, the nose dips. He jumps on the gas and it goes. Svart Osterberg is chasing him down. The gap between Hallberg and Osterberg was 3.5.
Oh, someone's dropped. Sorry, Andrew. Someone's dropped it. I think it's Svart after the second. Jump. Yeah, that's Osterberg there. So that's actually good for Jimmy Osterberg. Not only in race position, but also not to have that distraction ahead of him.
Hallberg, though, is looking untouchable at the minute. He's got another lap to go. And look at that again. All the road, and it actually picks up a rear wheel. And then away, right, Osterberg, the gap was 3.5. What is it as they come back over the start-finish line this time round? It's still 3.5. Hallberg's hanging on.
He is, yeah, and I think 3.5 is enough, isn't it, from what we've seen so far? With that, the Joker Delta almost doesn't really work, does it? Because the extra momentum you carry, just like in Barcelona, but he is on a massive push.
I've just looked across at Cabot, who's just, as he picks the end, Cabot, you just smile. Oh, Hallberg's gone slow up the hill. Osterberg going to go up the inside line, gets on the brakes. Why is he on the brakes? Oh, he nearly gets collected. What's Osterberg doing? I think Osterberg must have thought the race was over, maybe, and he missed the end of the race. He backed off behind Hallberg. Eganson now is all over the back of Osterberg. Osterberg nearly got collected by Eganson. So Osterberg's going to take it, and Hallberg, who we've properly given the commentators curse to, has dropped back down the order. Here comes Osterberg through the last corner. That's not the ultimate time because there were a lot of mistakes in that run. The last-minute joker is on that must be Hallberg's spotter, I think.
No, Osterberg.
Osterberg, sorry, yeah, Power RX it is. So where is Hallberg? Has Hallberg made the finish? No. Where's Hallberg?
There.
There's Hallberg. Whereabouts on the track is that?
I think that's down the bottom of the hill after Eklund Corner, isn't it?
Oh, he gutted. That's one lap away. Do you know what, though?
This could be perfect for Rearson if he can get a good run in the next race.
Because Osterberg's not had a good run. My only thought here, if that, let's say that's engine or something. If that happened tomorrow on the first lap, he'd have had a nightmare trying to get everything sorted in time for the semi-finals and the final. For it to happen tonight, they've got all night now to sort that car.
Yeah, and
he's
they
had
carry lots of spares. I'm sure they will. It's not the end of the world.
No, not at all.
This is what I was talking about in the first corner. Look, gets that rotation done early, then covers the apex on the first apex and the second apex. That was perfect. Osterberg trying to go around the outside, nowhere to go around the outside of Svard.
Look at the jump there from the drone. The jump looked mega. Cabot, we were just about to come to you when Hallberg came to a halt. What I was going to say to you about, I looked across at you, and I was waving my arms about like a muppet, and you just smiled at the same time because the inputs Hallberg was making into that car were insane, weren't they?
Oh yeah, we've been actually, Corey and I have been watching him on the hill all weekend, and he is constantly holding a slide in every corner we're watching from.
It's brilliant, and when you see the nose of the car dive, and then you see the steering input, and then it rises again when they go back on the gas, it's kind of like a 101 in car control. I was saying earlier, if you want to learn how a car's built, you can look at the outside of a cross car and go, there's the dampers, there's the drive shafts. But actually, if you watch somebody driving it, you can see when I talk about, or you talk about weight transfer, and look at it, you see it. Oh, look at it. Look here.
Yeah, he's got to unload. The nose raises up there. He lets it set, and he's back on the power, full throttle.
It's just so good, isn't it? And then unfortunately, you say he had that problem immediately afterwards, which Hal Ridge spot. Look,
Svard spun first. That was a first spin, so he spun in the first corner. There must be something going on there, isn't there? I think we're about to see Hallberg slowing.
Over the crest. Does it happen over the crest?
Yeah, it's a heavy landing, isn't it?
Yes, it's over the crest. Something goes wrong. Could be drive shaft if it's just over the crest. But now Osterberg, look, he's on the anchors as if he thinks Hallberg's maybe seen something.
And Eganson as well.
If Hallberg hadn't been on the inside there, Eganson would have gone up the inside. But you then think maybe Eganson's gone, well, what have I missed?
Yeah, exactly. Eganson's bailed as well because the first two.
Oh, mate.
All very, very cordial for them all to lift when seeing a slow car.
Yeah.
It's been advantage Hallberg all weekend up until this point, but it's not over for him if they can fix it because, like you say, Andrew, he's already had 100 points and they've got what time is it?
A long time, 12 hours plus. It's a DNF for Hallberg, and you can see
11 o'clock tomorrow, isn't it? Q4. So
yeah. They've got. You'll probably find out it's a 5-minute job, and it's going to be very frustrating. But go on, Cabot.
Are these chain driven?
Yes.
Yeah, I think when he landed sideways like that, the chain may have popped off because he went to go look right at it and he was like, oh,
great
again.
shout. It's just that this could be just the simplest thing.
I think it probably was.
And again, but better now than tomorrow, but still. Yeah,
yes and no, because you want you want to get back.
Imagine it happening in the final when the championship's on the line.
Better now than tomorrow, but at the same time you want to get back in.
On the other hand, better tomorrow in warm-up. Would have been better.
Yep. That would be the ideal time.
Yeah, then you just like, it's cool. Denied. Right. Okay, now, so this is key. Rierson, 4th from the left, number 170. There he is on cue. Well done, Robert, director. Great work. Per Goodison, Rico Hukka, Pasi Penton, Ronald Baldins on the outside. This is by no means a foregone conclusion because this is a hell of a tough heat. But from slot number 4, Isaac Rierson, who in the last heat we thought was potentially going to manage to get a bit of salvation for a not brilliant Q1.
This will be a tough semi-final, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if Rierson can get the whole shot somehow from here, when his championship rivals are not necessarily getting... Well, mind you, Osterberg's at the top of the table at the minute, but it wasn't.
But only by virtue of winning that race. There's still 2 races to go.
How many seconds did he lose on the brakes up the hill? 3, minimum. So Rierson here could gain a big march in terms of points on Hallberg and Osterberg, but he's got to get past a lot of quick drivers up to turn 1. Watching the slot number 4 car, great reaction from Rierson, going to pull a couple of gears here, but he's not got enough for the start, runs out wide, may try for the cutback, bit of contact with Bowden's on the outside, Rierson backs it in, past 1 car, maybe past 2, gets alongside, going to get for P2 over the jump, goes up tight, it's Hukka who leads, Rierson with contact in the background, pops a wheel over the curb, holds on somehow, Pasi Penttinen on the lock stops in the background, but it's Hukka. Penttinen now runs wide in the dirt, loses a couple of positions. Bowden's going to go around the outside as they go up and over the crest. Rierson needs to get past Hukka right now because Hukka is not as quick as Rierson is. He's going to get held up here. He can't, I don't know if he can go Joker or not. Looks to the inside line. Rierson's on an absolute missionary. He knows what's on the line. He needs Hukka to go Joker or to make a mistake, and he doesn't. Oh, it's an early exit and straightens the car up tidily. How's he going to find a way past?
I mean, he's got lots of attitude in the car, isn't he? So, look, he's going to have another look at the inside. Hukka covers the inside well there. Brilliant first corner there from Rierson. Checked out early, didn't he, on the brakes to cut back inside. Did well to clear the 2 cars that he did. Hukka's not going that slowly. Remember how much Osterberg lost. It doesn't matter about the ultimate pace. It just matters about
beating
all of these guys. You know, really, Isaac needs all of these guys to have a quick time. So, you know, to drop you back down the order.
That's fair, isn't it? That's fair. So, yeah, if he ended up P2 to Hukka and Hukka's on a sendy run, then it's all good.
So
he's not slow, but you just get the impression... Well, look at the results. Rierson is right up there, isn't he?
Hukka's going to joke on this lap. You could tell early on this is going to work out pretty well for Isaac Rierson, because behind, I think it was Goodison that's jokered too. There's Hukka and Goodison in the background. Robert Spalding's clears Goodison for 4th on track, but that means that Isaac Rierson now is one of the only cars not to joker with Penttinen.
Rierson, at this point in the race, is 2 seconds slower than Hallberg was going, but of course Hallberg DNF. So our camera just got hit, did it, Cabot? Yeah, he did. He just rolled over in the gravel.
So Hallberg's irrelevant at this stage because it doesn't
he's
matter.
He's going to go out, no.
It doesn't matter.
It's interesting, he was 2 up, and then Osterberg must have lost 2 or 3 because Osterberg's already...
Yeah, he was a cut 2.5 up on Osterberg already at this stage.
This is how early he's trying to turn that in on the brakes. Tidily done. This time it's a super smooth exit.
Penttinen stroke 2 now, so they're going to the last lap, but there's no risk from behind. Rierson's going...
He's just off the pace of Hallberg, but as we know, Hallberg stopped. So Hallberg's a DNF, but we've got a benchmark basically on our new fancy timing screen. Thank you very much, Calla and Timing, for sorting it out. Hukka hooking it up big time over the inside line. Bowdens was close to the curb, but Hukka, that was risky.
Reminiscent of Julius, he's tidied his driving up so much over the course of the year, Hukka, hasn't he? I don't know if we can give him a send-it medal this weekend.
I think we give him one for the first one of the year. We didn't have them ready, did we?
I think Rierson needs one as well, because he's been remarkably tidy compared to his massive push he's been on all year.
Here he goes, into the joke lap now. Rierson needs to keep this super smooth. He's aiming for the top time. It should easily be his. Round the outside of Hukka, who covers him off nicely. 309.0.
Only by a couple of seconds, isn't it?
Do you know why?
And only Hukar and Boldins pop in the gap.
In front of Osterberg. So Osterberg didn't lose as much time as we thought. We were thinking 3 or 4 up the hill.
Which is remarkable given the traffic and then that
But he
lost
almost
time.
stopped on the run on the hill. That's
what I mean, the traffic and then that lost time as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yes to Crosscar. Yes is always the answer. When someone says Crosscar, what's the answer, Hal? It's yes.
What,
Hal's confused.
Just saying yes, yes.
Yes, anytime.
Okay, yes.
Cabot, what's the answer when someone says Crosscar?
That'd be a yes.
See? Now that's why Cabot Bingham is gracing a supercar, Hal, because he knows the answers to the questions. Apart from Andy Scott and Mark Scott, which it took me 3 minutes 17.089 or whatever it was to remember. That was great, isn't it? So that's Rierson to the top, Osterberg's P4, and Hallberg's down in P10. I actually think it's gonna put Osterberg into the TQ spot overnight. How far back was
Well,
it?
yeah, definitely will, because he was second at this stage.
Yeah, but he was 14 points back. Yeah, and I suppose what's...
But Hallberg's going to get a bottom, isn't he?
He's going to P14 to 30. So yeah, he's going to lose 20 points. So Osterberg is going to go... We're talking about qualifying points here. Getting all mathematical on ourselves. Osterberg's going to go to the top of the table. Rierson with a 309.0 has gone fastest. I suppose it's about where Rierson comes up to from P7 and where Hallberg drops to. Hallberg had such a margin, Hal. He had 16 points, so even if he dropped 20 from where he was, it would have stuck him into P4.
Having a great run, isn't he?
Yeah. He certainly is.
As the only driver in the title fight that hasn't won so far this year. Very impressive.
Anderson, Sakirison, Aronen and Bendixson. Bendixson who rolled last time out and obviously has no problems. Bit of contact there as Aronen moved across on Anderson on the inside. It's Aronen who gets the whole shot. Bendixson steady on. That's the same curb he rolled on earlier on.
Anderson had a bit of contact as well into the back of Bendixson. Bit of a scruffy first corner.
I mean, in theory, Hal, if these guys were quick, they could challenge Rierson's time as well. And Rierson, I suppose, will be hoping that as many of them as possible get in ahead of Osterberg and Hallberg.
Well, Anderson's Osterberg's teammate in Power RX, isn't he? So, but there's nothing you can do at this stage. You can't manage that situation on track in that race, depending on where you pop in. So they've just got to do what they can, haven't they? Bendixson into the Joker. I was looking at their car in the paddock in the gap between the two sessions, and there was very little damage really given out. It did come down quite heavily, didn't it? But yeah, absolutely fine.
It was one of those rolls where you knew the driver was absolutely okay, but you weren't sure whether or not there was a ding in a tube, and if there's a ding in the tube, you're out.
Oh.
Yes, get in! That's what we want to see. Jarkko Aronen, might have to give him a full sem. We've got about 5 or 6 full sem medals left, Hal. Perhaps we'll just hand them all out. So Cabot, what are you taking away from this visit to Sweden ahead of Nitro later on this year?
Well, that I should have raced.
Yeah. The station wagon or the S1?
Both would have been great. Yeah, more track time the better. Honestly, one of the things I want to do is try and run the Nordic Series during my off season.
Yeah,
so I can hit the ground running. I mean, I imagine that's what Graz is trying to do right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, get himself ready, match fit for it.
Yeah.
You can size up your competitors a little bit. Fraser's been going really well this year. Obviously, Kevin Eriksson back in the car this weekend. Ollie Eriksson won the championship over here last year. Nitro's going to be tough, I think, but in a good way. It's a great entry, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's so much talent coming to Nitro. It's going to be a hell of a show. I think the biggest thing will be all of us will be learning the new tracks, right, and just getting them dialed in so we can.
There's a lot of gravel in the RX.
Yeah,
no. Like that?
Yeah, no, that looks like a lot of fun. I just want to make sure that the dust isn't crippling, you know.
I'm sure they'll be across it. Bendixson up the inside in the last corner. It's going to be 3 cars wide with a couple of laps to go. Poor Jarkko Aronen slotting in and then loses out to Bendixson. Bendixson was brave there. That wasn't even a gap.
Aronen actually lost out badly there, didn't he, by the other two fighting in front and not being able to do anything about it. Had they not got a bit together in the final corner of the previous lap, maybe he would have had a better opportunity to get back out in front, but the road was closed ahead of him. Bendixson's all over the back, coming over the top of the hill. I love this section. You can hear the gravel on the camera lens, can't you? Talking about gravel and dust. Fraser was just saying this is the best gravel he's ever raced on. It's so consistent, quite loose, but you know exactly where you are with it.
Yeah, yeah, again, there's a bit of dust, but it's not crippling, is it? It's just a bit of rallycross. So that is, I think...
sorry, Andrew Bendix was stopped in the final corner. Aaron has driven over the side of him.
Okay, that was wild at the finish. We're going to need to take another look at that, aren't we?
There's more damage now than when it rolled, look.
So a few people, haven't we, had problems in that very last
Bendixson's had
corner?
a really torrid season. Engine failures and crash damage.
Bendixson's going to be one of those dudes that's just going to be super relieved tomorrow. Just have a beer, put the car on the trailer and go, okay, that was 2021. We're just going to mark that one up to experience and hope that next year's easier. Cabot, are you happy to stick around for a while? Do you need to shoot off? You're more than welcome to stay if you want to see some lights in Supercar. We'd love to have you stay, but I'm also conscious that you might not be enjoying yourself.
Oh, I am enjoying. I hope I don't put that.
No,
that
not at all.
there.
We're just two British blokes banging on about cars, and as long as you're having a great time, please hang around. That would be great.
Yeah.
You've raced lights as well, haven't you?
I did. Yeah, I raced in GRC 2016.
Perfect. So we can have a chat about that as well. Wow. Okay,
Dang.
that was look at the race of the line. And I love through the gap. Look, it was was it Bendixson or did Sarkar got it? Bendixson.
Look how close that is.
Absolutely brilliant. Right, we're going to have a chat with Isaac Eriksson. Isaac, that's a bit more like it. It's been a pretty tricky weekend for you, and now Hallberg's hit trouble in this one. Is that going to get you back in the fight?
Yeah, I hope so. We had some struggle yesterday with the start and got a lot of traffic, and this morning got a good start, but unfortunately the clutch started to fade away on the second lap. So it was good now to really show my speed and get a probably qualifying win. I'm not sure about it yet, but...
Was it a Q session win? We think it was. The timing screen, unfortunately, has flipped before we were able to see. Yes, it was. It's P1, yes.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good.
Okay, that is good. So, okay, we're on Q3. We're not sure where you are in the standings. Calla, do we know where he is in the standings? We can't see that yet. We're trying to calculate that now. How is it for you trying to manage your sort of emotions through a weekend like this? You haven't had a great start to it, but you're now right back in the championship fight. Is it a little reset tonight and ready for fight tomorrow?
Yeah, of course it is. I know I'm great. I have good speed and like that, but also it's really good to finally get the result and show it. It's really hard. They are fast here, Jimmy and Patrick, and they have the really good results, them too. So yeah, it feels really good to finally get a good result here in Q3.
All right, well done. Get a decent night's sleep, and we'll see you for the championship fight tomorrow. You guys are in the closest fight. We're enjoying it. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I am.
I'll bet you are now. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
All smiles from Isaac Eriksson, who's feeling a bit better about things, and I can well imagine that. Tommy Howman started racing lights this year and is at the top of the standings. Equal with him is George McGuinness, who started racing lights yesterday and has done an absolutely brilliant job. Martin Enlund in P3, Mattis Janssen P4, Linus Osland P5, Anderson Oscarson, Janssen, Olofsson and Persson are your top 10. Remember, 12 will go through to the semi-finals. You look down at the bottom where the cut is, if you like, between 62 and 69 points. There are several cars who will be hoping to make it into the semis, just to scrape in at the back. Tommy Howman won't be hoping to scrape in. There's Johan Kristoffersson, 3 times FIA World Rallycross champion, just chilling. And probably in a minute we'll start practicing his lights procedures. And I mean lights as in start lights rather than supercar lights. Enlund, Osland, Hallberg, Anderson and McGuinness. Love the noise of a car going into gear. Just clunkety clunk. That's what we like. Ready to race light comes on. Amazing start from Howman in the middle, but everyone's equal to him off the line. His reaction time is good. Enlund gets a squeeze, 3 cars wide. McGuinness goes out wide. I think we'll try and cut back in tight, but inside him is Nils Anderson. McGuinness going to get pushed down into P5. Enlund gets squeezed. Contact between him and Osland. Anderson gets up. McGuinness is inside Howman. Oh, McGuinness has been aggressive through there and has managed to hold on to the position. I think he has. That's great racecraft.
Oh, wow, yeah. Buried himself in the back of Nils Anderson, and there wasn't anything Tommy Howman could do. Tommy looked like he might be able to hang around the outside of the first corner and take the lead. In reality, he's dropped right down to 5th. Martin Enland and Linus Austin really getting into each other on the first lap over the jump, weren't they?
It's going to be very interesting to see who goes Joker now. Remember, it's fastest first, so if you wanted to go Joker on this first lap, you could. And Nils Andersson goes. Andersson goes, and Hellman goes with him. McGuinness, McGuinness actually managed to save that pretty well in the last corner. So it's Andersson now with Tommy Hellman behind.
Both Andersson and Holman a bit disappointed after Q2 with the amount of contact they'd had in the first corner. I don't think there was anything too malicious in it, but they had been roughed up a bit. Tommy had a bent wishbone. Nils had lost quite a bit of time, and yeah, now it's just getting out of that traffic, get your head down, and set the fastest lap time as you can.
That's Linus' dad, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Morgan Osland.
Yeah, from Hollius, one of the organising team there. Look at backing it in. McGuinness has actually gained time here. McGuinness using a bit more road on the exit. The two in front using more the Scandinavian flick technique. And we've actually got an expert in the commentary box here with us this time. Hal, not that you're not an expert, but Cabot Bigham, who was actually 2016 GRC Lites champion. So I suppose that means he's better than us.
Yeah, 100%.
Cabot, so these cars, the tidy style tends to be quick.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sliding's usually slow. That's the basic rule of thumb. But there are exceptions, especially in rallycross. So it really depends how you set these things up. I've noticed a lot of cars here and overseas they run softer in different setups, so they like to be slid more. And the style that we run is typically more stiff and low. So.
Austin looks to have lost some time here to me, holding up McGuinness as well. Andersson and Hellman are now ready onto the back of this train, Hal.
McGuinness needs to be careful, though. I don't know if Eric Farren and Kay Austin's going to joker out of his way. McGuinness picked up a warning flag for contact. I can only assume that's for turn 2 as he forced his way through behind Nils Andersson. I think Austin's got a puncture on the rear, or is that
smoking
smoke?
away, isn't it?
Is that smoke or ominous of something else? Oh, he's had such a difficult year. That's puncture right rear, isn't it, I think? Quite difficult to tell on this monitor with the lights in the studio, but
he was losing time though, wasn't he? He was losing a fair chunk of time there.
Martin Enland, though, what a transformation he's been this year. He's won most of these guys have done 4 Swedish championship races in between Oulu and here, and driving for his own team now, and he's doing a brilliant job.
Enland's gap was 3.0 over McGuinness. McGuinness has to go as well. Nils Andersson's going to be there, but Enland easily going to have enough, takes it from Andersson. Hellman, then McGuinness, and yeah, Austin with the right rear. If it wasn't a puncture, it would have been very, very close to it. Something was rubbing badly. So if it's rubbing that badly,
I'm pretty sure
geometry,
I saw a puncture,
yeah.
but it's not particularly easy to see.
Yeah, Enland had a podium last time out in Oulu, P3, and obviously full of confidence, Hal.
Yeah, got a big squeeze in the first corner, didn't he?
Nowhere to go, is there?
Linus got a squeeze between Enland and Holman. I thought Holman was going to luck in here as he ran round the outside, but then they just run out of room on the outside. Enland, meanwhile, is going side by side with Linus over the jump, the mosquito jump, they call it here in Western Barnen, don't they?
So McGuinness did leave a cut. Oh, they rattled the Armco on the inside, didn't they? Gave the cage a little rattle there. McGuinness now somehow cuts in behind Nils Andersson.
Andersson doesn't make a great start, does he? And then comes out of the throttle early. He's even braking much earlier than the other guys. Ready, he's brake lights on, because he's already planning for the cutback in towards the second apex. Well, he's already at the first apex, to be fair to him.
He's there. He's look, and you can see in the background, McGuinness has already seen Andersson. I want to see how Hellman ends up where he does. So
McGuinness just hooks up on the back of Nils. I don't know
that I'd give him a warning for pushing for that.
What he's getting punished for there is pushing Andersson rather than forcing Holman wide.
Yeah, but even that wasn't a big push on Andersson for me. What do you think, Cabot?
No, that seemed just like normal racing right there. Are they getting a penalty? Is he getting a warning flag for that instance, or?
Well, that's what we think, unless we've missed something.
I think it's afterwards.
I mean, he's in the back of him there. He's into
but
it.
He's not. But what I mean is, in trying to determine what the penalty's for, he hasn't even touched Tommy. So Tommy's just in the wrong place at the wrong time, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, it was just a warning. So 308.4 for Enland. So I can see where that would have been in previous sessions.
That's easily the fastest, isn't it? Because the conditions have been...
yeah, 309.5 actually was Enland last time. It's Enland's second session win. So
still slippery last time, wasn't it? It had rained.
I wonder if that's going to see Enland move to the top of the table. Who was P2?
George was P2. Enland was only a point behind him, wasn't he, as far as I remember?
I mean, in that race, that last race.
Who was P2 in the race? Niels Andersen.
Howman will just hold on. I think Howman will just hold on to the TQ. We've got another session to go. So Enland's doing a great job. Janssen, Sornbron, Persson and Tornholt in this one. No, it's maybe not. It's it's Oskarsson, Stockvist, Olofsson, Jonsson and Bergström as I'm looking down at the grids and completely missing it.
3 wide into the second phase of the first corner. Olofsson and Oskarsson getting into each other. Olofsson very forceful with getting to the apex of turn 2 or 3, depending on how you draw your numbers on your track map. The paddock corner, as the Christofsons call it. But that's absolutely paid into Hookfit's hand, doesn't it? As they had a clean run on the first lap, determined to get a good, solid result to end maiden supercar season for Hookfist this weekend. And yeah, a good start to Q3.
2 fourth places in Oulu, so a debut podium would be nice here for Hookfist, wouldn't it? But Olofsson is piling a bit of pressure on here. Olofsson had a great start to the season with that win, and then has only made the final, as we said earlier on today, I think once more since then. So Simon Olofsson also wants to end the season on a high. Cabot, how much of the performance is in the driver's head? You know, it's already just saying go and drive fast, but so much of it is about your confidence. I remember your season in the Beetle in ARX, and at first the car and you just didn't seem quite together. And then I think we went to Canada, and suddenly didn't it all come together in Canada? Just the feeling was there. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of it's mental. Racing is a mental sport by nature, but you know there's an element of setup as well. You can see Buddy Rice just there. I mean, he's in charge of Simon's setup, and so is Sandra, and they've been doing a great job all season. I've been fortunate enough to pick his brain about setup and kind of tailor the car to what works better for me, and obviously that's something that works for me in ARX, especially in Canada. So what, I know you don't give any secrets away, but it was setting. There were a few things that just about your driving style that you were preferable if you made a couple of little changes. Yeah, for sure, and I mean also understanding the mannerisms of the car. Right, I had very limited time in the Beetle, so certain cars like to be driven and set up certain ways, and that's not familiar to me because I come from the asphalt world where it's stiff and it's direct. Right, there's no sliding, but Rallycross is a hybrid. It's a mixture. Yeah, everything's a compromise always, isn't it? Yeah. It can be perfect on the tar and rubbish on the gravel, or the other way round, and that just doesn't work. 100%. Nicely done by Olofsson. In front of Hookfist. Hal, what have you found? So this last lap's going to be critical. As long as Olofsson and Hookfist keep it tidy and stay at the pace they're at, this is going to deny Tommy Holman the overnight TQ, because they're just popping in between Enland, McGuinness and the Anderson-Holman battle as well. So this is going to change the overall order. So you think it's going to give it to Enland, isn't it? It is, yeah. Because Enland's going to have won those 2 sections. Depending on what Matthias Janssen does in the next race. Never that easy, is it? No. No. Over the line, Olofsson taking it. Lost a bit of time on the exit of the last corner, Simon, didn't he? Bit of over-rotation. You see a little shake of the head again from Sandra in the background. Great rear shot off the line. You can see the car juddering as it goes away. Just they're right on the limit, aren't they? Bogging always the Supercar Lites. Cabot, what's the key to a good start in them? Well, minimizing your wheel spin for sure. For me, what changed my my starts with these was knowing exactly how much to preload and slip the clutch on the release of the handbrake. Yeah. So a bit of practice, basically. Yeah, as much as you can. I mean, eventually I was talking with my father, and he was like, you know what, let's just buy an extra clutch and just practice launches, practice. So you wore a clutch out, basically trying to, Just launching, yeah. Yeah, but it's worth it, isn't it, when you look at the cost of a weekend compared to the cost of a clutch? 100%. Yeah, if you know that the start's going to make such a huge difference to everything. Right. Just to prove me wrong, Holman did a stellar last lap to beat Hookfist in the overall standings. So Tommy's currently 4th and Hookfist is 5th. He was 3rd though, wasn't he? Yeah, Olofsson's gone quicker, and Enland is going to take... So Enland's going to take another 50. I'm going to put him on 133. What did Howman get? Hal, where is he? P4?
He's 4, but we've got 2 races to go.
Yeah, that's
we?
all right.
So
I'm just working it out for now because I love doing that kind of thing. 40 on a 184 is a 124, isn't it? Yeah,
So Matthias Jansen, who's on pole in this next race, is the driver who was tied second, a point behind the overall leaders in the intermediate classification after Q2.
At the minute, Enlund would be on 133 and Tommy Howard on 124. This one then is Jansen, Zornborn, Persson and Tornholt. Tornholt had a great run last time out, but he isn't going to get the start this time. Kasper Jansen, I think, going to get the whole shot, despite a little bit of contact in the door.
Great start from Kasper Jansen, and was given loads of room on, or gave the Polestar loads of room on the inside by moving left off the start, then cutting back in, but worked out beautifully, and that's quite a margin on the opening lap. Look at that little lip over the top of the hill. It's just as Kasper starts setting the car up down into Ekman Corner. I guess this is the weekend when we can start talking about improved performances, and Kasper Jansen's been one of the stars of the entire season for me.
Yeah, just that progression again that we've seen from some other drivers. From the clearly has car control, but is a little bit aggressive through that learning curve. Cabot, I mean, what was your learning curve like? I guess actually coming from a circuit background, was Lights maybe a little bit easier for you if you were a tidy driver anyway? We find a lot of drivers come in and they're wild, and then they realise they're losing a bunch of time.
Yeah, no, for sure, and that was the era of GRC, right, where we had quite a bit of pavement at some tracks, right? So a lot of this was mechanical grip, and it was a lot easier for me coming from the asphalt background to adapt to the Lights car.
Just keeping it tidy, keeping the momentum up all the while.
Yep, all momentum-based car and keeping it underneath you.
So yeah, so Kasper Jansen, who we've got in this one in the green and black Lights machine, was super wild when he first joined the series. Was it debut this year, Hal, or late last year?
Yeah, this year, yeah, in Julius.
Yeah, what was great, you know, you can see car control in someone that just got it in spades. It was just he was mega aggressive. No fear, but brave and car control, but just needed to tidy it up, and that's what Kasper Jansen has done. Kasper at the minute is sitting P8. We've got Mattis Jansen is sitting in P4. So Jansen and it's Mattis Jansen is equal on points with Martin Enlund. So if he could beat Martin Enlund's time, but at the minute, not too likely, I think. We're about to
you say that, but he bettered Enlund's first and second laps.
Oh, okay then. And now goes Joker. So Kasper Jansen is out on the standard lap. There goes. Oh, that was close on the exit. But Mattis Jansen in the white 22 machine. There it is. So I think Kasper Jansen might well beat Enlund, but then I don't know if that's going to. That takes 5 points off. He'd still be ahead of Hellman.
He's at 8 tenths up as they cross the finish line last time around. Jansen on Enlund. So for fastest time, as we think it's going to be.
Jansen or Mattis Jansen?
Matthias Jansen. No, sorry, Kasper Jansen, because Matthias Jansen's already joking.
Yeah, and it's Mattis who's the one who's a danger to Enlund. Yeah. So Kasper's coming over the finish line now. Flagged for Kasper Jansen, goes fastest. 3:07.0 actually goes a second quicker.
Mattis
Jansen, goes to 5th. So I think that's going to make Enlund overnight TQ unless somebody does something incredible. Who's in the last one? Annette Voss, Michaela and Ringstrom. And they are not near enough. So yeah, I think it's going to be overnight TQ for Enlund.
Well, 1-2 for Enlund Motorsport as well as things stand. Martin Enlund running his own team this year. I was talking to him after Q2 this afternoon, just saying, you know, the whole ethos is that they need to enjoy their weekends. It's all for enjoyment, and obviously you enjoy it a lot more. Kasper Jansen took quite a big hit in the first corner from namesake Matthias, but got away with it. No malice yet again. Managed to get away. Kasper's so used to the car being sideways now after his first season in Supercar Lites, and pulled a really big margin on the first lap. And I love that. I know the drivers were all complimenting how well prepared the gravel was, and yes, it's nice to drive on beautifully prepared gravel, you know, like in Rally Finland or the Swedish gravel rallies where the roads are perfectly smooth. I quite like it from our perspective when the gravel gets a little bit more rutted and you see the car moving around a lot more as it's starting to become now.
The Lights battle is fierce as always. Confirmation of the result from that one. Kasper Jensen ahead of Mattis Jensen. Tony Sornblom, Emil Persson and Ida Tornholt. Let's have a catch up with Kasper Jensen, shall we?
Yeah,
Kasper, hello. It's been a good season for you, I think. We've seen improvements all the way through the year. How do you feel about how it's gone?
Yeah, I think it's really good this season for my first. Yes, I think so.
You've got great car control. We've been enjoying seeing you go sideways, but you're tidying it up as well, and now you're really fast. You're becoming a threat to those top guys.
Yeah, it's really nice to go sideways and send it, yes.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. How are you enjoying Arvika? What's this track like to drive?
I think I like it, but yeah, it's very special and yeah, it's a fun track and drive, yeah.
It's quite technical?
Yeah, so I don't know really, but I think so.
Okay, well look, we're impressed, so keep sending it. That's what we want to see, mate, and we'll see more of you tomorrow. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's cool. That's great, isn't it? Kasper Jensen, there we go. I think it's that first time we've spoken to Kasper, I think, this year.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Enzo Eid in the supercar, getting himself ready to go.
If there was a seating position that typified Enzo's character, that would be it, wouldn't it?
You think?
Look very chilled.
Yeah. He is pretty chilled,
That man's pretty chilled as well, isn't he, Anton?
Yeah. Super chilled Anton. Philip Gurman. These are just pictures from just a few
Sits
moments
close to the
ago.
wheel, Philip, doesn't he?
Yeah. Johan Kristoffersson. Three-time World Rallycross champion and very nice bloke. And very funny. Oh, he'd kill you. He's so funny. He's very funny. Right. Annette Klev, Voss, Vakela and Ringstrom. I think Annette Klev potentially has the pace to do something good in this session, but it won't affect the overall standings because at the moment Annette Klev's P17, Voss P18, Vakela P19. Where is Ringstrom? Ringstrom is P15. Yes, and none of these guys are in any danger of taking away the TQ spot.
But there'll only be two semis, so this is a battle for the top 12, of course.
Yeah, getting in. 2 sessions still to go, one tomorrow. Check the weather, Hal. Have we had a very British weather report on tomorrow at all?
No, not yet.
Just going to have a little look now. Opening up the classically reliable iPhone app. Mind you, bet that George McGuinness's 2% chance of rain yesterday when it absolutely hammered down, wasn't it? What we got?
It says 80% chance of rain in about an hour, which is useless to us.
No, it's absolutely no use whatsoever, is it? Annette Klev on the inside's got a great start. Voss not quite able to match it, but should slot in behind. Annette Klev now needs to keep his nose clean, not run wide. That's exactly what he does. Voss, on the other hand, hooks the curbs a little bit, and around the outside there went Ringstrom.
Voss is driving Lights car number 1.
Really?
Yeah.
How old's that one?
Well, they were first.
Obviously, they're refreshed a lot.
Yeah, of course. Run by OMSE, so the chassis age is largely irrelevant, isn't it?
Yeah. Chassis number 1. So was there a test car prior to chassis number 1?
That was it, I think.
That was it. What was the one Cyril Raymond ran? Was that chassis 1? Well, did him and Oliver both ran the same chassis in RX2? Do you remember?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 1 off the top of my head.
I love the fact that Hal Ridge knows his chassis numbers.
Yeah. I don't know if it's something to be proud of, to be honest.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day. It's quite weird, actually. I think this is more tiring for everyone, us included. The breaks where you stop and then come back. And the drivers were saying yesterday, Cabot, that the quick-fire weekend where it's like bang, 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 session, semi-final go. And now this weekend, it's like Q1 yesterday, 2 and 3 today, 4 semi-finals tomorrow. That's more tiring for them.
Yeah, I think just having to manage your emotions and the adrenaline levels consistently is really rough.
Yeah, really hard.
Yeah.
I think when people see Rallycross, again, question for you, Cam, really, I mean, Hal races as well. Even I do occasionally. Hal's driven more supercars than most people
course, because he's a real rallycross legend, is I think people assume that you don't need much fitness because the races are short, and that is not the case.
That is not the case, no. A lot of it comes down to just stamina, like mental stamina, and I found that the best way to train that is either through driving or through cardiovascular exercise.
Really?
You got to stay sharp mentally, even in extremely hot cockpits or intense situations. And the best way to do that is have your heart and your breath controlled.
So put yourself into a situation, so do a lot of CV. What sort of CV stuff do you do? What do you like to train with?
Well, I like to do like 5K runs and stuff like that. I also do a lot of trail running because I don't enjoy treadmills so much. Probably spin around.
Yeah, it was a bit of a spin for Kayla, I think it was. Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah, I occasionally like a run, but I'm older than you and my knee's playing up now, so I'm more of a swimmer and a cyclist. But okay, so you like a 5K?
I do, yeah.
What sort of pace are you on a 5K? But it's something horrendous.
Well, I go for the sub 20. So.
Oh my God. I was so proud of myself last year when I got a sub 25. I was like, I was always around the 26, 27. I was like, I'm going to go for a 25. It was in lockdown, so I was running twice a week and I got down to 25. But now I hear, and then who is it? Sandell did a sub 40 10K.
Yeah, I mean, he's an animal.
Oh, he's a weapon, isn't he?
Yeah,
he
for
loves
sure.
it.
Yeah, he does. He loves that stuff.
That's impressive, though, mate. And so here we go over the line. Ringstrom's going to take it, and the time is down in P14. So I think we'll just have a look at the points later and figure out where they are in terms of the top 12. So you're feeling ready for Nitro. Other than the car, you'd like a bit more time in the car.
Yeah, I mean, I'd always want more time in the car.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
We can hear a supercar right outside the car.
Yeah, well, hold on a second. I had to reset.
Let me listen to that rip across the pre-grid area.
No, but I'm really excited for Nitro, and I'm really hyped on the Audi, too. I mean, that car is so cool. It really is.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. Really cool. Can't wait. Okay, so we are heading towards Supercar once we've got these lights of our replays. We can hear. I don't know if you can hear at home. I assume you probably can over our microphones. You can hear in the background the Supercar pre-grid starts. Ooh. Doesn't look like enough contact, does it, to do that? Unless he's broken something in the contact, broken a front shaft.
Yeah,
and then,
I think you're right, Andrew. I think it's broken a front drive shaft,
and then the power all ends up in the rear,
or a front steering arm or suspension arm. We'll see now as the car rotates around.
Is the other one moving? It is.
Well, that was the nature of that corner. He's slotting a lot to begin with, so the rear's already unloaded. And then once you have that abrupt contact in the front, all it does is shove the rear even more.
Thank you, Cabot. There we go. There's a proper answer, Mega. Ringstrom from Netclev, fast and Bakayla a DNF. But then there must have been something wrong with DNF. I mean, we'll go and ask him later.
He stopped, didn't he?
Here we go. Intermediate standings ahead of the final round. Round 3 of qualifying. Enzo Eade. Look at that. So we were told Enzo was top of the table after Q2. And we were like, that can't be right. And then, of course, everybody in the quick race had gone out early. They'd gone out in the wet conditions, hadn't had a good run. And Enzo had won the session, and he's equal on points with Kristoffersson. 83 points each, but Eade gets it because he was quickest in the latest session. Markland is right there. He's just a point back. So this couldn't be closer, really. Anton is a class act anyway.
Yeah, I told you that I thought he was one of the most underrated drivers in the sport, and you said I said that about most people. So
but that's because you know so much about so many drivers. There are a lot of underrated drivers, aren't there?
But Anton's done some mega stuff, hasn't he? And had some brilliant teammates, and he's never embarrassed him. No, he's always been there or thereabouts.
Yeah, he's never been shown up by anyone, has he?
No.
He's also just lovely. He was. If you missed Q2 earlier on today, as I say, it's brilliant to have such wonderful guests in the commentary box with us. Cabot Bigham with us this afternoon, Eriksson, Nitro Rallycross driver GRC prior to that. This morning we had Anton Markland in. Anton was great with just some of the stuff, just those little things that you get from these guys. So thanks for coming and joining us in here. Hope you're enjoying it at home. Eade, Markland, McConnell, Michalak and Carlson. It's an unusual grid, and that's because of the unusual weather earlier on. Or Fraser McConnell manages to come out from the squeeze in the middle there. I think it's Markland on the inside line. Markland rides the curbs, trying to get alongside him. Or contact, front corner of the bumper off contact again. That must be a Michalak in the background. It is. Carlson drops back, so Enzo Eade lead from Fraser McConnell and drop it further back, maybe. Is there an issue there, Hal? Oh, and then into the dirt on the outside line as well.
Yeah, Anton's slowed of a problem, hasn't he? Anton and Fraser getting into each other a little bit actually helped Enzo out and stopped Fraser having the opportunity to stick it up the inside of Enzo Eid into the latter part of turn 1. We could almost call it turn 2 where the second apex is, couldn't we? This is what Enzo Eid needs though, isn't it? To get his head down, get out front, and Fraser's going to have a look on the inside. Enzo carries the momentum around the outside. This is where he needs to be, and with a clear road ahead of him, well, I think we could see some really good stuff from Enzo this afternoon.
I think we could. Enzo was impressive, was saying in the last session. He's very calm about it, but he's been saying how much he's learned from his new teammate in the World Championship, Kristoffersson. I also think we need to see, we've seen a few mistakes this year where things haven't gone his way. It's good for him to have a bit of pressure from McConnell, because last time there was no pressure last time, it was just a clean run to a quick time. Now it's a run with McConnell right behind him.
And nothing, I don't want to jinx him, of course, but Fraser was all over him in the last corner there. He's just doing his own thing. I mean, you're not looking in your mirrors constantly either, so he'll know he's there, but he's gapped him a bit on that last time around, hasn't he?
So Fraser McConnell was told off by Andreas Eriksson for being too sideways in the last corner after that last run. That was what all the arm waving was about. So I went to Andreas, I was like, what were you saying to Fraser? Because and I waved my arms in his face.
I think that's an absolute case of do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, probably is actually, yeah, very much. But yeah, he was saying, he was like, you're losing too much time in the last corner. He said, I want you tight and tidy and on the inside. Carlson's going well here as well. McConnell, of course, fighting Evshin for P2 in the standings because Niklas Gronholm isn't here this weekend, and at the end of qualifying, basically, McConnell and Evshin will pass Niklas for P2 and P3 in the standings. They've got to split the strategy here. Fraz is going to do well to stop that because I think he was going to go Joker, but has done well to get that car stopped, Hal, and got it turned in on the standard line.
Enzo really close to the barrier on the outside of the Joker exit as well. I think that was a late decision for Enzo as well. Whether he chose to jink in late or whether the spotter told him late, we can't tell from here, obviously, can we? But a late decision from Enzo. Fraser did really well not to lose any time by staying on the main lap.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Fraser was getting basically, Fraser's probably had the cool alternate. Whatever they do, as you said earlier, how you do the opposite. And then when that didn't happen, we should have been quiet for the wastegate again, shouldn't we? You can just hear the wastegate on the way down the hill. Go on.
You can see how much more pace they're carrying in the dry now. That little kick over the top of the hill. They're actually getting air there for Fraser McConnell. Andreas Eriksson's on the radio. Joker, 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 Fraser.
Here we go. Fraz into the Joker lap now. Enzo Eid on the inside. Fraser's half spun in the Joker, and that's a bit of a nightmare behind him. Here comes Carlson. Fraser drives straight over the gravel trap. That might not go down too well. Over the line. McConnell is ahead of Mitchlack and ahead. I think Fraz might get done for crossing the gravel trap in the Joker there, Hal. What do you think? Because he would have been in a position back if he hadn't done that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you could well see that being reversed, couldn't you? Because there was no
only
attempt,
by one. I don't
there was no attempt made to
no.
take the proper line.
But that didn't. The Joker lap didn't go well there. So there we go.
I'm made up for Enzo that to be in that race as well as when he drove on his own earlier on and put behind him the difficult year he's had in RallyX Nordic.
Looking back at the supercar times, Enzo's quickest time before was the fastest time of 3:01.5, and he's just dipped under, so he's gone 2:59.333.
This is what I mean about the first corner where McConnell could have had a go up the inside of Enzo, but then Anton's there, but then has side-by-side contact with his Hedgestrom Motorsport teammate, Michalak. But yeah, with Anton in the side of Fraser, he couldn't get inside enough to get inside Ida. I love this first corner. There's just so much going on, isn't there?
Certainly is. This has got. Do you think this is the driest conditions we've had for supercar? The driest, most consistent. It must be, mustn't it? We haven't even seen Kristoffersson have a dry run, have we?
100%, yeah.
But some of these guys had a semi-dry run this morning. That was I've never seen a track dry so quickly as it did. It was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Fraser was all over the back of Enzo there. This is Fraser's Joker lap, so he gets it turned in. He's just I think it's just too much entry speed, isn't it? So he's got it.
There's the reaction of Andreas
stuck
Eriksson.
in the
Watch
gravel
this.
on the outside.
Well, that's a pretty tame reaction from Andreas Eriksson. I would have thought he would have felled some trees or something with not being too happy.
He wears on his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, and fair play to him. We need characters in this brilliant sport. Anything on the screen about McConnell at all? Still P2 at the moment. What I think the most they would do is drop him behind Anders personally, but they might not. They might just go no.
He's also lost so much time that
yeah, maybe it's like you've already punished yourself, don't worry about it.
I quite like the fact he just dropped the clutch and launched it across the curb there.
Last race is going to be brilliant, by the way. The last race of the day is going to be amazing. This one should be good, but I've just had a little glance down
like
at the last race.
fastest last, though.
Yeah, it is literally fastest last, isn't it? So yeah, stay with us. 2 races to go. Okay, Tora and Anderson, Guillaume, Oberg and German. German will be keen to get a good start here, I think. Let's just say that most of this grid isn't known for lifting or giving other people space. What are your thoughts, Hal?
The sweeper there is just cleaning the gravel from that Fraser brought on there.
Should he be waiting to clean turn 1?
Difficult to say, isn't it? Maybe. There's a lot of people with... the thing with the order being so mixed up is that these guys are all in with a semi-shout at the moment,
so you're going to go for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you going to pour Lars Anderson?
And there's a lot of time to get the car sorted for tomorrow as well.
So Hal is calculating in his head as a driver. He's like, it's time to fix the car. I want to make the semis. We might as well go for it. Daniel Toren had
We'll see now whether
crash.
Daniel's being honest about it just being for fun, because if it's just for fun, I expect to see him lift out of this. If it's not, which I expect...
Where was his testing crash? Was it here?
It was here, yeah, up the hill after the second jump.
Yeah, so Toren had a testing crash earlier this year. He actually hurt his back years ago, but he had a testing crash. There's Niels Anderson and George McGuinness. He had a testing crash and hurt his back and retired from Rallycross, and has since built a new truck to transport his Rallycross car and come back for fun and then enter the race immediately. So he's unretired himself 4 months later.
I think there's been shorter retirements in history, but not quite.
No, it's a good one, isn't it? It's a good one. It's a bit like Steve Redgrave, if you're a British Olympic fan, who said, if you ever see me anywhere near a boat, shoot me, and then won another gold medal 4 years later. So I think he won the gold in 5 Olympics in a row, which is absolutely insane. Olympic reference, sorry, I enjoyed the Olympics. If you didn't, then there's something wrong with you. It was wonderful. It was a wonderful sporting roller coaster. It was absolutely brilliant.
Who's your money on this race, Andrew?
Crosscar for the Olympics, just a reminder. My money's on German, but he's got to get it done at the start. So German is your man in terms of pace, but he's got to get it done off the line. He'll know that too. And he's not got it done. Absolutely worst case scenario. German goes backwards. Patrick Guillaume going to try and shut the door. Spin immediately. 2 spins in turn 1. The predictions came true. Unfortunately, a few people have gone round, so that's better for German. German now's got to find a way past these in front of him. It's Oberg who's leading.
Oberg from Turenne at the moment. Not two drivers that Philip German would probably be expecting to race for the podium at the end of the weekend. He's going to have a look up the inside.
Go on, have a look. Nobody tries it there, do they? It's just hanging it out just a little bit too much. Cabot, you're in P3 now. Philip German, he won a session earlier on. Did he win, or was he was very fast, wasn't he?
He's got enough time to joker now and still get back out in front. So absolutely the right thing to do will be to go into the joker. I think in the back of the shot he was, yes he is. So yeah, perfect scenario. Now he just needs to hope that these two joker early, which
enough.
They don't have to, do they? But he's going to catch them pretty quickly.
No, we spoke to him yesterday in the wet after he had a good run. He was ahead of Christopherson, I think, wasn't he? This morning, yes, that was it, yes. And we're really pleased. And then unfortunately for him, of course, lost loads of time. So you think he's done the right thing there, Cabot? Early joker, give himself a bit of space?
Yeah, I do actually. I think that if these guys can joker a little bit earlier, he'll just start playing. That strategy will come to him. You know, the race will start going back to him. Otherwise, he's just holding himself up there, and he might try and put it in a risky spot and ruin his time.
So Oberg and Toren. German will be chasing Toren down pretty well. Toren's going well at this point. Toren doesn't joker, goes for the lead, and that's maybe not ideal for German, but that's Oberg trying to cover German off, and German's got him already. Now in terms of lap times, really German needs to hope he doesn't catch up to Toren too quickly. I think Daniel Toren's going pretty well here, Hal. He's not looking like a man who's retired.
Well, he definitely has retired, has he? Because he's reasonably on it. I think they've Per Eklund and Per Anders Eklund done a huge amount of work with this car to get the custom engine into it. Done a lot of chassis setup work. And he did quite a bit of testing as well. Look at it, pop over that little bump over the top of the hill. Going round Per Eklund corner now, and I think, to be fair to Daniel, who admits he's maybe not the most experienced or greatest driver in the world, he's doing pretty well.
Also a big supporter of the sport, isn't he?
Massive
sponsorship
supporter of the sport,
for drivers and circuits and things, and we need to say a big thank you to that for him. I know he works really hard. They make I don't know what you call them, attachments for excavators,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
they? So buckets, I think they're called for the front of excavators. JCBs we'd call them, I suppose, wouldn't we? But
So Phillips in an EKS Audi, and we saw how well he did earlier on. He's got onto the back of Daniel, hasn't he? But it's not like he's caught him in a couple of corners. So
I think Daniel's going well.
yeah, fair play.
Right, German now, is he going to try and make a move? There's no point, well, there is a point, because he could gain a bit more
see
time.
it on the footage. It's actually quite a corner up there, isn't it? And that rear shot just doesn't quite highlight it.
What is it like up there? You say you've been watching up there all weekend, Cabot?
No, mainly on turn 1, but I actually had a chance to do sit in on a driver debrief, and they say that is a more of an exaggerated corner. It's not only that, but that downhill section is very steep, so it's a bit deceiving.
German goes P5, Oberg P6, and Toren into P7. So Enzo Ede is still fastest with a 2:59.333. A couple of cars still finishing out there after an interesting turn 1, Hal Ridge.
Yeah, Guillaume makes a great start, doesn't he? Turns in. Anderson's just dropped it on the brakes, I think, hasn't he? There was no real contact there before the rotation.
Yeah, but as he panicked where Guillaume shut the door on him. No, there was contact, front.
But not massive. And then Guillaume's just been rotated. Nothing he could do about that. I don't imagine he had too much.
Have a look from the drone. Look, these shots. Look at that.
Yeah, Anderson was already locked up and rotating the car before they made the contact. Daniel Toren lucky to get.
I was going to say, yeah, Toren up the inside, wasn't it? I think Oberg around the outside.
That was a good run from Oberg as well, who we have to remember is pretty inexperienced in a Rallycross supercar.
Yeah, good on him.
The Hedstrom's guys have got their work cut out this weekend, haven't they? We're fronting 5 cars. I said to Peter before, is that enough now? He said, yeah, no more.
Do me a favour, have a word with Peter about liveries. He's one of those blokes who loves all the cars to look the same. And do you remember, where was it, Hollius, was it, where all 3 were in the same, and we got a long shot, tiny monitor in the commentary box. I had absolutely no idea who any of them were. It's nice when you're watching it on a 50-inch screen at home. I can assure you. 3:05.5, Oberg, Toren, Guillaume, Anderson. 1 race left to go. And it's fair to say, I think the fastest time of the session could come from here. Enzo Ede's done a 2:59, so he's dipped under, but we haven't seen any of these guys in full send and full dry.
Peter stalled on the line last time, and because the car's so new to him, he had no idea what buttons to press. He's looking at the steering wheel, looking at the dash.
How to restart it?
Yeah. So because it's all a process, isn't it? And the reason he's here is to learn, how the car operates in those scenarios.
And be ready for next weekend. He wants to go and debut his new Hyundai that he's bought from GRX in the World Championship. This is his debut in competition. But it is Kristoffersen, Evjen, Hedström and Eriksson. Final race of Saturday here at Arvika. Good start on the inside line by Johan Kristoffersen, also by Evjen. Moves across contact with Hedström, all 4 cars wide. Evjen gets spat out the back there. Hedström going to try and slot in on the inside line. Evjen gets into his door. Kevin Eriksson ends up at the back. He's alongside Evjen. Contact again. Oh, the Honda's going to spin. Get on the gas. Kevin can save that, surely. But he's lost too much time now. And it's Hedström who's going to be chasing Johan Kristoffersen, racing at home here in Arvika. Kristoffersen over the crest in the polo. Look at the attitude of these cars. You can hear the gravel getting spat out. Kristoffersen a bit sideways on the exit. It's a good start, but Hedström's going with him.
Absolutely, he is, isn't he? Remember, Johan Kristoffersen's battled Nicholas Gronheim in an almost identical Hyundai all year for this title battle. Nicholas not here this weekend. Peter, pretty inexperienced in this car, but he has so much experience of Swedish Rallycross under pressure from Sondre Evjen.
Evjen got a better exit, didn't he, from that hairpin? That hairpin's so tricky, Hal. You've got to be patient in there, and maybe Hedström back in Fiesta mode. He said yesterday, I'll drive the car too sideways, I've got to tidy it up. And again, that's what he's here for this weekend, but he's got to get it done. Look at the time he's dropped to Kristoffersen.
Proper Rallycross first corner there, wasn't it? A real scrum for track position, but nothing, nothing bad, nothing untoward, just a real side-by-side action. Johan Kristoffersen really moving the car around.
I was just about to say, I love when they come over the crest, you can see they're just holding it just with a little bit of angle on it, a little bit of brakes, and then off the brake, get the weight to come back and flick it in.
He's a perfectionist, isn't he? But he can't fail to be enjoying driving the car either.
This camera angle on the inside, as you see the car come in, just all backed in, and then you hear the turbo whistle up and spooling away. Hedström's gone joker.
Hedström made a bit of a mistake in the joke. There's Tommy Kristoffersen on the radio to his son Johan Kristoffersen. They live over the water from each other just up the road here in Arvika. Johan's driving this car very differently to how you would maybe expect him to drive the Works Polo or the EKS Audi he races now in the World Championship. In the last corner you see that's especially where he would normally get it stopped right on the apex and drive out of it. With this Polo, it's getting a lot, carrying that rotation a lot more around the corner.
You can see it at the bottom of the hill there as well. It's not brake straight, turn, get on the gas. It's just turn it in a bit more. The team would admit this is not a car that's anywhere like the same spec as the Audi and the factory Polo. But Kristoffersson just makes everything look easy. And at the minute, he is on for a time 2.1 seconds quicker than Enzo Eid. I'm just trying to think when Eid jokered. Last lap, I think, wasn't it?
I think he jokered on lap 3 of his race. Remember, he jokered a lap earlier than McConnell.
Yes, he did. So Kristoffersson was definitely up after the 0.7 up, then another 0.3, was a second up the road. So he's on a big, big push. You can see the time to beat in the bottom corner. 2:59.333 from Enzo Eid. It's Kristoffersson's World Championship teammate who's in that spot at the top of the table right now. Here comes Johan, going to go late on the brakes in the Polo. Oh, gets it sent in tidy and early. He's a little bit wide in the gravel and lost some time there, and he won't like that, but over the line, is it going to be enough? It is, it's easily enough. 2:57.233. Kristoffersson goes top of the table. Eriksson and Hedström slot in behind Enzo Eid. So that is a great job by Enzo Eid, but it will be Kristoffersson who will take the TQ spot. They were equal on points when they came in here. So Kristoffersson going to go to the top of the table with his World Championship teammate, but a rival this weekend. Friendly rivalry, but they're in separate teams this weekend. And Eid will be P2 as we head into Sunday for Q4, the semi-finals and final. I didn't see that contact on the way into the first corner. Kristoffersson got lifted up at the rear, didn't he?
Great start from Kevin Eriksson, but had just nowhere to go. All the cars ran wide. Then Kevin's going to have a look past Sondre Evian. They've had side-to-side contact. Kevin has a massive tank slapper.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin was a bit unlucky there, wasn't he? I know they're playing around with the settings on that car all weekend. Oh, yeah, and it's just a slight wheel ride up Evson's front right, wasn't it, from the looks of things?
Looks like Hedström's in a cross car, just balancing the car on the brakes, watching the brake lights flick on. Yeah, I love this camera angle.
Seeing the angle of the cars move is just awesome, isn't it? When you just see someone change their rotation angle just by 10 degrees, and then in Kevin's case by 90 degrees.
But I think Evian maybe hadn't appreciated quite how much momentum Kevin was carrying out from wide on the exit of the first corner. Are we going to see that side-to-side contact here? Yeah, we are.
Evson's going to know as well that Kevin's coming back across him, but he knows if he gets through the gap quick. You kind of get this, sixth sense, don't you, for which direction. Well, it's not a sixth sense, you just know. Once you compete a bit, you have a very good idea of where a car's going to go across in front of you, but just occasionally you get a surprise and it comes back a bit quicker. So here, Johan, I think would have liked to have been 2 feet closer, maybe?
That was more Larson than Kristoffersson, wasn't it? But it looked pretty epic.
Got the job done, though, didn't it? Got the job done. So Kristoffersson will be the overnight TQ, having taken a 2:57.2. That is the fastest time of the weekend. Sondre Eriksson, Peter Hedström, and Kevin Eriksson. Johan Kristoffersson, you've probably heard the commentators up here just saying you were maybe a bit wide in the joke lap there. We know what a perfectionist you are. We know we can't possibly do what you do anyway, so it's a bit harsh of us to be that critical. How did you feel your performance was in that last run?
It was good. To start with the Joker, I think to be really close at the inside in the end of the day when it's so slippery in there, I think it's faster to go and touch the bank and go.
No, so, you see, I knew that must be it.
So, but yeah, from there on, I was very happy with the starts. So then I just took it so really careful in T1, and yeah, I was a little bit too careful in T1 maybe for the speed, and then over the jump I took down the speed a bit too much, and I think it was Peter behind me that actually was a bit surprised that I was braking, so he actually touched me a bit in the air, and then I got some sun going into the windscreen exit of T3, so then I was like, oh, it felt like there was a car coming from the inside. So the first half lap was a little bit of, I wasn't comfortable. And from there on, I saw Enzo's time, and I knew that was very, very fast. So I knew that I had to give it absolutely everything, and I really, really did. I had a few mistakes, and we will have to do some tweaks. But I'm very happy to be able to make that run as a P1.
Yeah, I'll bet. You've had such weird conditions over the weekend, like this morning. I bet you couldn't believe it when you were sitting on the line and that rain came. And then obviously you had a problem with the steering, I know, but the next guys, the track was bone dry 5 minutes later and they went 20 seconds faster. It's just not fair, is it?
Yeah, I mean, also they drove fantastic, but maybe not 20 seconds faster. But but okay, I mean, I was pretty sure now that it will be a shower for the last heat of the day, so that would be fantastic to then again have a shower. But we was able to drive in dry conditions now as well. So, but yeah, it's been weird because you cannot really dial the car in either when the conditions are changing so much, and the problem I had in the last heat. So. Yeah, but anyway, can't complain because I've driven this car since 2015, so I should know what to do.
Okay, so do you know what you're going to do tonight? Is it a couple of little settings, tweaks? What's the weather tomorrow? You live here, tell us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be quite similar tomorrow. And yeah, I think tonight is not going to be as much work as the guys did yesterday because today they wasn't finished until midnight, so changing the engine. So very, very happy with the job they done, and the car feels much better today, and a lot more torque in the bottom end. So very happy with that. But of course we still have to work because we know the guys behind are hunting.
All right, awesome. Well, it's your World Championship teammate Enzo Ede who's actually in P2 in the standings. So you have to get stuck into him tomorrow, Johan. Are you guys going to be nice to each other?
No, I think it will be. We will race hard and fair. I think I'm 5 points ahead of him. So
yeah,
we will do our stuff and try to keep it clean. I think both of us want to have a good result. So, but it's easy to stand here the day before without the helmet on to say we're going to be nice and easy. So let's see tomorrow.
We're looking forward to it, mate. Have a great evening. Well done today.
Thank you.
Johan Kristoffersson there with a great time. Interesting, isn't it? He said Enzo's time was really strong and I knew I'd have to work hard to beat it. He did, and he got it done. Few little mistakes. I love the fact we're wrong about the joke. I mean, we should have known, shouldn't we?
Yeah, of course, and he knows that we know we're wrong as well.
Of course he does.
A little stab.
And when he says 20 seconds, I say it's about 20 seconds up the race. So I don't think it's quite 20. He will know that it's 14.3 seconds.
Yeah. But just the smile on his face. He loves this. We love this, but he's as much of a nerd, a geek, or whatever as anyone else. And the buzz he's getting, he doesn't need to be here. He's a triple world champion. He doesn't need to be competing. But this is his love. This is his life. And he gets a massive buzz from extracting the maximum from what he's got there. I love it.
Cabot, you've set a record for the guest who stayed the longest because all our other guests have to go and race a car, and you wish you'd had to go and race a car.
I really do, yeah. I hate to be the guy who set that record.
I know. That's no good, is it? We'll see if we can line a station wagon up for tomorrow. What's your thoughts on that session? And Johan Kristoffersson, I don't think you've competed against Johan, have you?
I have not, no, but he's definitely an inspiration to me, trying to maximize on every corner he possibly can, being a perfectionist, and then obtaining that many championships.
It's best rallycross driver in the world. I think he's the benchmark at the minute.
I would say so, absolutely.
Yeah. We'll have to try and persuade him to come and do some nitro at some point, won't we?
We'll have to try. I don't know.
Well, maybe we don't want to try it too hard.
Let me get one or two maybe, and then we'll bring them over.
Cabot, thanks so much for joining us,
guys.
mate. Really appreciate it. Yeah. Hal, nice one. Cheers, mate. 11:30 tomorrow for Q4, and then we're going to be doing semi-finals and finals in our last show. We're even going to show you 3 races from the Swedish Championship. I think their finals are going to sneak into that last show, so we'll have a little bit of a chat and a bit of a wrap as a season of RallyX Nordic comes to a close. We've had an absolutely brilliant year, so we've got a couple of sessions to go tomorrow. We do talk about some interesting things in this commentary box, or maybe not. So we're going to leave you now, but we'll leave you with a few minutes of some of the random stuff that we've come up to talk about. So sorry about that. See you tomorrow. Straight there, it's going to be completely different. We're just looking down at our monitor. Hal's looking for a pen or something behind us. Don't worry, nothing like getting caught out live. Well, here he goes, He's putting in half an inch of gravel around the bottom. Let's hope there isn't a strong breeze. You've bought us a gift, and the perfect person is in here for this kind of gift.
Oh, yes.
This man really likes snacks. So what have you got with you?
I have licorice.
Oh, nice. I like that stuff.
What do the birds do? If any ornithologists out there, is that bird people it is, isn't it? Look at me knowing stuff. What do they do when it doesn't get dark, mate? This is why we need to plant a tree for all this lovely paperwork that we've got here. Not quite as tall as Johan, are you?
I'm taller. I was from beginning, but...
Really? Now this thing. What are these?
Delicious is what they are.
They are. There he is, your man's back. Digging holes and putting in the bollards. They all have a little sing, don't they? And then they have a sleep for a bit.
Terribly confused, I imagine.
Well, it must be knackered, mustn't they? When they're all
pulls awake, flying around, wondering what on earth's going on. I mean, it's confusing enough for us. Crosscar, no, that's not the one. Supercar Lites. What did you want to know, Hal?
I already know. He was 4th in qualifying, Olofsson.
I hate Hal Ridge.
Well, no, I didn't.
Thanks, mate. Do you know what? He's made it work. How's he done that, Hal? It's witchcraft.
He's a Finn.
If you want to win, get a Finn. There we are, me and Marcus trying to look sharp. Now we've realised the camera's on. We're all like this on the desk.
I tried to look sharp. They sometimes wait for the tourist ships to come in.
Yeah, nice. Oh, mega.
And I must say, like, this is the future. Like, coming here to the studio, bring your
snacks.
Sponsors, snacks. That's awesome. They're gonna love you for this. And hey guys, just pay out. You know?
Hal, this is the longest break we've had all weekend. What do you want to do?
Crikey.
Should we have some lunch?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Someone's just said beer in my ears. I don't know who it is in the truck, but I think it's just a little bit too early. No, you want to see how you want me to do it again? So it's roughly, but the one that Andreas likes is. That's the one that he really.
That's class.
You like that one, don't
Yeah.
you? He does that. He can't figure out how to do that.
More beer. Did they get them? well, I think we have a new
Big up.
He's coming out sold. He's sold. Sandals Hotel.
Oh, mate.
Having run, that's the most shovelly sound effect of all time. We should clip that up and use that when necessary.
Sell that, couldn't you? I don't know if sound libraries are really desperate for shovel noises, but
radio.
Yeah,
Audio
drama.
Books. Yeah.
I think it's about 10,000 billion calories, but right now it is. That's what we're being told it is. Let's do the diet, no end of good. I've got a hoodie on here. I'm trying to style it out, but I'm not going to lie, it's pretty hot. Basically, I packed for like super cold, raining weather. I looked at the app and it was like, Holly, this is wet. Like all week, like 90% chance of drowning. It looks awful, and so my bag is just full of waterproofs and like puffer jackets and stuff. And it's hot. I think the back of the grid's been extended out in these since last year.
Maybe Robert's planning to take a plane off out of there. It's like one of those walls where you have the jet engines.
So you get a little extra boost off the. Well, that's what we assume. I've never been a fighter pilot. Yeah, what do you think? You reckon if I made an announcement on a plane, it would be calm? Do you want some?
No, thanks.
I can't eat live on air, can I? Mate, I tell you what there's nothing makes Hal crosser than if I call him while I'm eating. So he calls me some morning, so I'm like, I'm in a bit of a rush, mate. I'm just eating some toast. It makes him livid.
It's warm.
It's warmer than the UK. It's supposed to be like...
What happened?
I know. There's snow out there, and yet it's 20 degrees. I can't get my head around it at all. Luckily, the bars do close, so people have to go home in the end. And I had a conversation with Timmer about Scooby-Doo, the cartoon, and how I was slightly terrified that I felt like it was a bit of a Scooby-Doo type castle we were staying in, and Timmer thought this was the most hilarious thing he'd ever heard. I was making all sorts of jokes about me waking up in the morning with ghosts and so on. What are we doing here? We're repairing something. Look, there's a man in the top of the excavator. Someone signed that off, now, and but I'll tell you how I approve of that. What do you think?
Which bit of it you approve of?
I like it. Sometimes you've got to improvise.
Yeah, that's
right. Got an excavator. They're fixing some
stuff.
That's
RallyCross all over, isn't it?
But also, mate, if that was you and me at home, damn well you'd be in the excavator.
And
chop the top off the tree or put up the Christmas lights, whatever it is, wouldn't you? If I had an excavator, I'd do it. It's brilliant. So if Hal Ridge ever calls you, if you need to get rid of him, the fastest way to do so is to start munching on the other end of the phone.
Stop it. It's so unnecessary.
Welcome to Geek Club, where two 6'4" men bent over a laptop looking at tenths of a second.
Then it poured down for the second race, and we've just had the biggest thunderclap I've ever heard outside the studio.
So we've got stuff going on outside. Oh, wow. Yeah, they're fixing the start lights. We've pulled down a cameraman who was up high because of a huge lightning strike very close to the track just recently, and that tends to make cameramen up cranes a little bit nervous, which is fair enough, isn't it? How loud was that clap of thunder just a minute ago?
Yeah, it was a big one.
Go on, get in. I don't think I'd want to be in the scoop as you reverse through a ditch, but, fair play. One of them's got a high vis on. That must be why it's okay.
Finns are brave generally, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, definitely.
Let's see what happens. There's quite a lot of.
Nick, glass. Drink. Look, we hope you guys have really enjoyed today. Apologies for the power cut. That someone had to go and buy a massive fuse, or perhaps they just stuck a spanner in the fuse box. I don't know. But we will be all right for tomorrow. My thanks to Hal Ridge. Well done, mate. Good fun as always. My goodness me! Unbelievable turbulence here. Hold on tight, we're going to send it in towards this runway now. We're slightly low on fuel, but don't you worry.
It's like a different language, isn't it? I was lucky enough to get a lift in a helicopter the other day, and I haven't got a clue what they're talking about half the time, to be honest.
Just keep on filming out the front window, mate, and enjoy it. It did look good.